everybody. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 171. Not so quiet Riot. How y'all doing tonight?
I get in there. I mean, that's true.
Hey, hanging in, keep it an eye on stuff. So
I think most of us all live in a fairly rural area, right? Well, not rural to suburban.
I live in kind of a weird border area where it could be either. I mean, it's suburban, but there are some rural patches around here. So.
Yeah, I live in the suburb of Louisville, Kentucky, essentially on the Indiana side, and over here it's quiet, but there's been shit going down in Louisville. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of the interesting things, not to really jump in, but I did see one of the major highways that goes from Indiana to Chicago. Massive concrete barriers were like put up, essentially fully stopping anything from going.
Was that the one off at 80? Because there was a section that's off at 80 that it turns out that's actually they're actually doing construction. So double check on one of them, because one of them it turned out to just be that they've been there for more than a week.
Yeah, give me a minute. I gotta think where I saw that.
Yeah, because we had we done a little bit of research on that earlier because it wasn't too far from where roommate grew up.
Yeah, oh, here we go. That was. Yes, it was on 80.
It's on 80 because they're fixing the bridge on 80. So over near, I think it was near New Lenox area. They had put construction up between New Lenox and Joliet just to keep people off the bridge because the bridge is going to collapse. So
maybe. I mean, yeah. I've seen like bridges out. I've never seen them like piled
like
3
stacks,
high.
Yeah, it's like three concrete blocks.
Yeah. So, I mean, could be bridges out, but, you know, I'm sure people in Indiana are like, oh, that's awesome. Let's just, like, wipe out Chicago from being able to come see us anyway.
Although I did hear, I think, 94 in some of those sections was riders on the highway last night. So
oh, really?
It was there was a warning that went through to stay off of that part of the highway, just because coming in from Wisconsin through Chicago into Indiana, they were on the highway.
Oh, I know some here in Columbus tried to do that, but then the CPD started chasing them and they dispersed very quickly. And that was the end of people being on the interstate.
Mm-hmm.
There was some of that in Dallas, but Dallas has actually gotten the worst of it, really. Dallas actually has been burning somewhat. But the Fort Worth side, where I live, has been pretty quiet. I mean, there have been a bunch of peaceful protests, but it's been all been peaceful. They've just been, marching and, little congestion. I think the worst was Fort Worth. They blocked the 7th Street Bridge, but that was it. And they basically they got tear gassed for that. That was all that happened.
Yeah.
But that was it. I mean, everything else has been totally peaceful. So
that's good. Yeah, and
that crazy going on, but nothing in the suburbs.
Yeah, it seems like the vast majority has been peaceful, and then there's been those coming in kind of after the peaceful protests, not attributing what group or who it is, but it seems like it has been very organized from what I've seen, because it's not just like 1 or 2 cities, it's every city, and it's very similar actions.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, the report that we got, because I got friends in most of these cities, so a lot of this is firsthand accounts. And in LA, they had a protest march in Santa Monica, I want to say Saturday, that started at 2 p.m. and it went until right about 3. And then all the protesters went home. It was peaceful. It was very civil. At 4 p.m., out-of-town buses and vans started to show up, and that's when the rioting and the looting started.
Yeah. Speaking of vans, there was a van. I mean, and it was a straight-up hippie-looking van that I saw. That Columbus police intercepted, and it was full of, what was everything that they said? Hammers, bricks, baseball bats, 2x4s. They had about 15 different things, and it was like, holy crap.
Somebody was giving out collapsible canes that cost like $150 each. Like all these protesters had them.
I hadn't thought about that. That's actually not a bad idea.
In fact, about as far as organizing and urging it on, all right, you see the left wing blaming a supposed white supremacist doing it. I haven't seen any evidence of that. The right wing blames Antifa. I see only a slight bit of evidence for that because I haven't seen iconography from either one of those types of groups yet. Though keeping in mind that the white rioters I see seem to be on the younger side and really skinny. That would be more like Antifa, but you don't know. And everybody's masked up nowadays, so you don't know. The dress code is very similar to Antifa, but then again, so many people are masked up now.
Yeah, like some of the reports I've seen, I wasn't going to necessarily name, but everything so far has looked like Antifa. We had the one kid whose mom got completely pissed off because he was out doing crap, and she turned his ass in.
Oh yeah,
and she straight up said and found and gave all the information to the cops, and he was Antifa.
That's pretty hilarious.
It was awesome. It was like, it'd be really nice if more parents were like that. Actually watch some of this coverage, see if your kids are on there, because this has happened in other times. I watched YPD, and you don't see it as much with like white families, but oftentimes with African American families. If like there's been, I think, 3 times now where a black kid, has got caught up for something. The cops got him and brought him home. Oh my gosh, you talk about ass whooping, like right there live.
I thought
that mom like laid multiple times. Mothers have laid into their kids.
I saw one black mom doing not these current riots, but a different riot. She was like beating the shit out of her son at the riot.
Yeah, that was from Baltimore when the Baltimore riots that happened a few years back. That's where that video came from because the cops went to arrest him. Mama, it was like from the Hackers movie with the basically the same thing. She whooped him right on camera.
Yeah, like YPD, you'll every once in a while see you hardly ever see the dads do anything, on camera. The moms, they just don't give a crap, They're gonna wail off on those kids sometimes, but every once in a while you'll see like Caucasian mom do something. But I'll tell you what, if you're a kid and your mom catches you, holy crap, you better run because the cops are gonna be easier on you than your mom will be. But in regard to my week, I've had a pretty good week since I steered away from what we were currently discussing pretty quick. And honestly, a lot of my week has been getting off of Facebook, getting off of Twitter, steering away from social media, keeping the news off just because.
It's hard, though, isn't it?
Most of the time it's hard when it's like normal. Whenever it's one of those times where it's like everything's just going to be, straight up burn the world down and everything sucks, like screw it. It's much more peaceful to turn that off for a few days or, just look at it for maybe 30 minutes a day or something and then go back to your place of zen. And just be done with it because it's a shit show. You got no matter who your friends are, you got people who you did not expect to have certain views or be as outspoken as they are on whatever side, and somebody's going to piss you off no matter what. No matter what your views are, no matter what their views are, somebody's going to be pissing you off very quickly. So yeah, me Xing out from all the social stuff has been very nice.
I'd have no human interaction at all if I didn't have social media.
Hey, sometimes that's a good thing. In small amounts of time. That's why people go on their what do they call those? When they go like on their 1 week hiatus, like to meditate. What are those kinds of things called? Retreats. Yeah, like people doesn't have to be like spiritual retreat, but just like and people used to do this before the internet, so this isn't like just do like an electronic disabandonment. This is just like get all that crap out, like go camping where you don't have a cell phone signal, which means you also don't have 4G or LTE or anything like that, or 3G, God forbid, or less. And just enjoy, get away every once in a while. It's good for you. But once you get back, make sure you have at least LTE, because it sucks trying to do internet stuff without it. Right, Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably get a new phone when the Pixel 5 comes out. I'll probably get a Pixel 5 XL. My 2 XL is still pretty decent, but I screwed up something. I had to really glue some stuff back together. Apparently, it seems that Lysol may be a solvent for the type of glue that holds on the back.
Oh yeah, that very well
I
could
put
be.
it back together and Gorilla Glued it. The down volume doesn't really work really well right now, but it's at least more functional than it was.
Okay.
That Gorilla Glue, though, one of the things you got to remember about the normal Gorilla Glue, there's different types, but it expands.
Yeah, and one of them is actually activated with water. So is that the one that's more
I
like
believe so.
foam?
Yes.
Gorilla Glue is hydro activated. If you use Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, like the regular one. They do have the others that's more like super glue, where you don't have to do anything extra.
But the regular Gorilla Glue is some powerful ass shit, all things considered.
It really is. But I've had multiple friends who are like, dude, you told me about that Gorilla Glue, and I saw it looked like it worked well for your stuff, but I put it on. This stuff doesn't stick for nothing. I said, hey, did you actually read the instructions? Did you do the water? Whoa, what? I don't just like put it on and stuff. No, read the freaking instructions.
Yeah, the instructions I had to the pin I got, it said you had to put water on one surface, not both.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got this little pin thing so I can easily apply just the right amount. Well, it's not quite a pin, I guess, but it's in a very small bottle. I can apply just the right amount to that gap in my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it works so well for so many things. And there's been times where, I took like buffing compound or whatever and smoothed out whatever surface I was working, and essentially you couldn't even tell that Gorilla Glue ever existed there. Just if you do it correctly, it can come out miraculous. I love this stuff.
Oh, and for some reason, I used to have an extension for my browser that would make Twitter look like it used to, but now I got the new interface by force.
Oh no!
Oh really?
I just hate this new The old one seemed so much simpler.
Yeah. Oh wait, you have the new interface?
There was a new interface that was started like several months ago.
Yeah.
But I put in a plugin to make it look like, I don't know, 2019 Twitter. And actually, you know what? I honestly don't know when they changed the interface. It's been quite a while. But my plugin was working, and now it doesn't.
They probably changed the CSS on the site.
All right. Anybody else have anything non-show related to say?
Non-show related?
Sorry. Well, non-note related.
Non-note related. Any announcements?
I have.
Is burning.
Oh, there's Liz. Hey, Live Beef.
Hey.
Hey. Hey.
I think someone screwed up that URL because the L was on a different line. Let me see what I can do about that.
No, screwed up URLs.
Who's our fellow Jitster?
Is that me?
No.
It? Okay.
Yeah, you're showing up as you.
Mary's P2, right?
Yeah.
Apparently I'm P2. I don't know how to change it. I'm on the phone.
Well, I mean, I think it makes me IG or something, doesn't it? Doesn't or I?
No, you're showing
show
up
up
as
as Irongeek.
No,
Yeah.
because you don't have your Gravatar set up. That's why it shows that.
Okay. Yeah,
but we also have a fellow Jester who has not spoken yet, so
Yeah.
I didn't know who that was.
We can kick them and find out. Speaking of being kicked.
We could, but that's not nice.
But it's
we got the capacity on here. Actually, I wonder what Jitsy's upper limit is on the number of people can connect at a time.
Make a bunch of bots and find out.
Jason said Twitter's new interface sucks. They ruined Facebook years ago. I stopped using it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and there's a new Facebook interface that I think is maybe in like beta stages now. I upgraded to it probably 2 months ago, and within an hour I reverted back. It was just a pain in the ass. It was hokey as all get out.
Jason's giving me advice on a phone. I'm just going to wait till fall because the Pixel 5 XL comes out then. And it's supposed to have multiple lenses, some with zoom capability. So it'll probably be really good for when I go out on nature hikes and take photos of stuff that I can't get close to. I want to get so close to it, even in Lappin Park, before they'll run off.
And when Adrian says a nature hike, he actually means nude camps.
We're getting social media UI revamps.
And that's where nobody shaves. What was that, Liz?
I don't know. It's just all the social media UI revamps are generally aimed at maximizing engagement, as a term they like to use. And I don't know. To me, it just makes the UI more cluttered, more stressful to use, more distracting. And I generally hate it. But from the social media company perspective, this is how do we find ways to get them to click more shit, to look at more stuff, and insert more ads. And
yeah, because if you don't pay for something, right? So somebody's got to be paying for it ultimately, or else there's not going to be an interface and there's not going to be a business.
It's not that. It's not black and white. It's just they have people who try to figure out, how do we get people to click on more things to have more opportunities to show them advertisements.
Yep.
And it's the UI change. It's always the UI.
Yeah.
And they don't like giving you, most companies don't like giving you an option to say, no, we don't like this. They just couch this on, we just want to optimize your experience. Maximize, you want to make you get the most out of this website, get the most out of our services.
The latest Facebook change looks ridiculous, but you can
it's
the old version.
Yeah, you can go back to the old version. Yeah, because I remember back whenever I used to oversee specific websites for, some of the companies that I was over. I remember back then talking to a lot of different web companies, like that all they did was create websites. And some were pretty big. But their number one thing was essentially a website has to have a complete overhaul. And this is to stay relevant, like every 2 years was the metric. And this was 8+ years ago now. But kind of the expectation and public perception was that about every 2 years, there should be a website overhaul. It should get fresh, clean, every 2 stinking years. I was like, holy crap,
I don't know.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, to a point.
But too, if you look at, start thinking through the different sites that you commonly utilize, whether it's social media or even like your banks, right? And other sites, they're sticking pretty close to like that 2 to 3 year time frame for major overhauls. And these aren't even just like small things. These are like, but too, ultimately, that's why it comes down to having CMSs, right? So some type of content management system, for your site, or throw some newer template on or whatever, because yeah, it's crazy. This is why I'm not a web person.
Most websites, after the redesigns, I can get used to them after a while. Oftentimes it's like, okay, I'll just get used to it, even though it's a degraded experience. But Reddit, that fucking redesign, no point in time have I ever gotten used to it. It is the most obnoxious bullcrap. Yeah. I will go out of my way to go to the old UI every single time. I will type in URL. I'll replace the www with old every fucking time.
Yeah.
Because 2 to 3 extra times per thread in a new UI versus, and there's all this extra stuff saying, we see you've read 2 posts into the thread. Do you want to look at these 4 other threads?
No.
And it's fucking hate Reddit's UI. Oh my God.
I read it. Okay. Yeah, I don't get on Reddit much. I did for a while, about 4 or 5 years ago, but there's just not much on there I really want to see.
Remember a few years ago when Dig was pretty popular, and then they did a complete redesign of the site, and everybody dropped and went to Reddit?
Yeah.
Has Dig even been popular for the last 10 years?
No. Back when it was popular, it was like the Reddit of its day. Like, it was,
Kind of stopped caring about Reddit after that whole Ellen Pao thing, and mainly because
Chairman Powell?
No, it's not that, because Spez, after he came back, pretty much said, I fucking hate all of you. I don't want to be here. You all fucking suck. It's like, I don't want to use a site where the guy who runs it says, I fucking hate everyone who uses it.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna move some people away from the platform.
And also doesn't help that they had a national security letter. They had to warrant Canary go off, but then again, pretty much every major social media site has had a warrant Canary, has pretty much within that circle. So there's no escaping that unless you're on some obscure forum.
True.
All right.
So getting into the show notes.
And I'm going to remove some of these extra characters would have no purpose.
Extra character?
I'm picky. Yeah, man.
Hey, come on. I know I'm a character, but I have some type of purpose. Come on.
You are a little extra.
Continue the show notes.
All right. So the first thing we've got is hackers breach hosting provider that hosts 1/3 of all Tor sites.
Was this that DNS hijack?
Yeah, it's a DNS hijack. It's the same thing that happened in 2011.
Yeah, it probably 2011, 2012. Yeah, I know a big one happened around there.
Yeah, so it's this hacker who goes by the name King Null, who claims to be part of the Anonymous Collective.
Anonymous Collective.
Anonymous Collective.
We serve zero purpose until something comes on our radar, and then we bring everybody together and claim that we've done all this stuff when we really haven't. Oh, wait. Hey, how's everybody doing?
Well, I mean,
Weird.
I've just gone downhill since Sabu fucked over Lulsec, and I think
You do realize that people like claiming like this, they're anonymous right now. They're just anarchists who like the aesthetic of anonymous.
Yeah, and then Anonymous picks up and is like, "Oh, like these are somebody who's been on our mailing list." Okay, boom, we got you.
Back in the news. Anyway,
There's a small handful of original anons that are doing shit like spamming, like broadcasting chocolate rain over police frequencies in at least one city.
I mean, it's not that hard.
That was fun.
It's really just you hold down the transmit button and put it next to an audio source. But
yeah, no, the stronger signal will be the one with the receiver that picks up and uses. Yes,
ham radio shit.
Well, it's a little more complicated on the encrypted bands, and supposedly
not every city has encrypted bands, though.
Chicago does, and that was one of the cities that was hit.
Yeah.
Encryption
kit.
Yeah, it actually is interesting starting looking at some that are using encrypted bands because it is starting to slowly roll out. So
well, we have encrypted down here, and we're in BF Lawrence County in Indiana. So and that was even, we had that on analog, and they switched over to digital about 2 years ago. So.
Yeah, but it's still not the norm yet, though.
Yeah. So this guy took down 7,600 dark websites.
The hosting provider got taken down, right?
Provider got hosed, and he was able to download a bunch of email addresses, passwords, private keys, all the things that were hosted there that you wouldn't normally be able to access over the web, but you could if you were the user. So this threat intelligence firm under the breach has confirmed that it's legit, and he's slowly leaking all that data across the web in various drops. Haven't seen much of it. I saw one post in raid forums about it, but the data that was leaked was encrypted with a password, and he didn't give you the password, so it was just a large file of garbage.
What was the file format that he released today?
TGZ. Anyway, I think it was TGZ. I'll have to look at. I'll tell you later. I'll look into it.
Cool.
And the article really doesn't go into much more about the technical details of the hack, but a lot of the people who I've heard talk about this are saying it's probably DNS hijack.
Yeah.
That's fun. Next.
Wait, real quick, I just want to comment, Jason. Yes, we would also appreciate if your bathroom mirror was encrypted as well.
Hello.
It'll make all of us happy.
Hi. There's a kid. All right. National IDs of more than 100,000 Indians have ended up on the dark web. Now, this one threw me for a...
That's it? That's like what, 0.00001%
larger,
population?
It's one lock. That's the measurement that they use, a lock for 100,000.
Nice.
And they're scanned copies of Indians' national IDs, including their PAN number, which is like the social security number, and their passports. They're on the web for sale. And a firm, Sybil, said on Wednesday the leaked data seems to have originated from a third party and not a government system, which is always good when it's not the government that leaked your data this time.
Agreed. It's annoying when that happens.
Yep. He's selling it at
time and time again
on the dark web. So you can go on the dark web and buy some Indian IDs if you want. They're not that expensive. Anything else useful in here? No. They recommend you don't give people your personal information unless you absolutely have to, which is pretty good advice. Ready to monitor your financial transactions. And if you notice anything suspicious, contact your bank. Of course. So that's it for the breach report. Pretty short this week because I didn't have a lot of time to look into stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't have time today. One thing coming up on vulnerable stuff. Give me a minute. I can, if you start hitting that, I have one thing I can add to it. So
do it. Next, in the ransomware report, we have ransomware gang is auctioning off victims' confidential data. Now, we've covered these guys a few times. People behind Revel, or otherwise known as Sodin or Sodin no Kibi.
Or are evil.
Are evil, Revel, whatever. They have this website where if you do not pay in time, they, for free, usually, leak all your stuff. And they were behind the law firm hack in New York City recently that had some celebrities contracts that had their social security numbers on them as well, things like that. And they leaked a bunch of that data. I think Lady Gaga was one of them. Now, rather than giving it away for free, of course, they're auctioning off some of the data from these people rather than just give it away for free. That way they can make some money even if they don't pay. Auctions for data for two companies. One is the Food and Harvest Distributor. They apparently did not pay, and they promised over 10,000 files containing confidential cash flow analysis, distributor data, insurance content, vendor information, and scanned driver's licenses, accounting department data. They're going to auction it off. The auctions are a new tactic that they're using that they've been hinting at for a while. And one of the clients is alleged to be Madonna, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So the gist of it is they're moving away from just giving away the data, and now they're trying to auction it off to make money when they don't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, the data is going to get out there, but at least they, for them, make some money now when they don't get the company to pay. You get somebody else to pay.
Yeah, we're really, really getting into pretty hardcore cat and mouse now. Because, originally it was just ransomware. And it was going to rip through, it was going to decimate, and that was going to be it.
And people were going to learn how to do proper backups, and we were going to be over.
Yeah. And then we start moving from just ransomware to where we still primarily is we're having a lot of the attackers jumping into the system, spending about 2 to 3 weeks within the environment, finding where the backups are, annihilating the backups, and then releasing the ransomware while still exfiltrating data.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting to the point, of that exfiltrated data, as opposed to just putting all that up for sale, at a set price, going to more of an auction style. So, as always, make sure you have very strong backups, because that's going to be number one. And then number two, you better be protecting that sensitive data. If it is sensitive, you need to have your PAM solutions. You need to have all these other things in place around that sensitive data, just to make sure that whenever they come in, exfiltrate some data off, that it's going to be stuff that you don't give a crap about, and go on to the next thing. So, but I tell you what, that is one of the nice things though with them, and I think I mentioned this in the past, and I've told this to people I've spoken with professionally, them looking for the backups and looking to annihilate those, that takes an amount of time that can give defenders that kind of that leverage to be able to find somebody and detect them within their environment. Because like No Payda and some of these others that just rip through, that was 0 time, right? WannaCry, all those. But now, since they are starting to look for the backups, like I said, they're spending 2 to 3 weeks within your environment. And I know it's an average of like 6 to 8 months to detect people, but we're still talking going from like less than an hour to 2 to 3 weeks now that they are spending more time and trying to attack your backups. So if you have, whether you're doing an in-house SOC or outsourcing, and Frank, I know, yes, I work for a company that has a SOC, yes. But, and so do you. But you really need to get that 24/7. You need to get those items in place. And even if you don't outsource a SOC or have a SOC, make sure you have the detections that kind of go low enough that you're going to detect that abnormal behavior. That doesn't necessarily require a SIM. SIMs do get expensive, but you can use an EDR. You could even potentially use like what's that freebie EDR?
Not Bro. That's not EDR.
No, what? Yeah, I mean, but Bro too. If you can get Bro going on or what's Bro called now? Since that was not PC, Zeek. Yeah, but if you can get like IDS going on your east-west traffic, you can detect a lot of the stuff too. Wooza, right? You guys heard of that? Wooza or Wazoo? Wazoo. It's kind of the open source EDR, but they have freebie like versions of it. A lot of it's still going to be, like still going to be signature hash types of detections, but at least it gives you that accessibility to get a little bit deeper into the window, like the log files and stuff, be able to extrapolate information from them, give you some of that visibility if you're not to the point where you can get a SOC. Like Sysmon is amazing, but it's also kind of a pain in the ass. Wazoo,
the verbosity, and then you got a lot of logs, and you got to find some way to go through them.
Yeah, and like Wazoo's one of those things that you can stand up. And I think they only charge you if you want like support on it. And I don't work for Wazoo or anything. Just one of the things I've looked into in the past. I work for another company, but yeah, especially if you don't have budget, you cannot get somebody above you to give you any budget. Do that until you can find another job, because security needs to be one of the frontline items for your company. If they're not going to put it as a priority, find somebody who will. And we've said this multiple times. There's tons of security positions out there. Work for somebody who values you as well as the work you do. Okay, that's me jumping off the soapbox now.
All right. Next, somebody put in Dan Goodham. That's an author who writes security articles, but I didn't put that there. So I don't know why that's there.
Adrian, was Dan good and you, or
No? All right. Well, maybe we should just skip past that then. Wonder why the heck that's in there.
I do not know. They're cleaning stuff up momentarily here.
I see you. You're like going crazy anal with the show notes here.
There.
All right. So Dan Gooden is a security guy who writes articles, and I don't know why he's listed here, but maybe somebody who put him in here will tell us why at some point.
There you go.
Next, we have Ghost Shell, malware indetectable with AV bypass techniques, anti-disassembly, and more. And is indetectable a word? I thought it was undetectable. That is not a word.
Yeah, it is undetectable. Indetectable is not a word.
Well, I is next to you, so it's probably a typo.
I think we should make indetectable a word.
Or it could be someone, ESL. So
Because if indetectable then becomes a word, then out detectable should become a word as well.
And very detectable. All right. So Ghost Shell, are you guys seeing my screen here?
Never. Yes.
Okay. So Ghost Shell, this malware is pretty advanced and can bypass a lot of AVs. And I actually haven't read this article before putting it in here, so I'm going to do my best.
Come on, Frank.
Pretend that I know what I'm talking about. It can enumerate process function, enumerate all running processes on the system, and compare them to a blacklist. And if one of those processes is found to be on the blacklist, it returns a value of 1 identified. Sleep acceleration and check function. It'll get the current time and sleep 2 minutes, then get the time again and compare the difference. If it's less than 2, it returns -1 identified. I guess that's a way to figure out if you're in a sandbox.
Oh, yeah. So these are anti-sandbox stuff. So yes. So there are, it's like close to 3/4 of the malware families now are starting to do sandbox lookups. You used to
get away with checking the MAC address.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago. Well, not just MAC address, because you can still run like Cuckoo Sandbox, Immunity Debugger, from a debugging perspective on a lot of systems, right? On any system. Doesn't have to be like a virtual system. You can run sandboxes on physical systems. So it doesn't just have to be like MAC address based. Now that is a good tactic from an attacker, to look at the MAC address. But then what they also do is look at the different processes. So if they identify and look to see if they are in a sandbox, and if they think they're in a sandbox, then like what this I'm sure will do is it shuts down. It will not run and execute the primary payload, just because they want to keep themselves off of, different antivirus sites. Because if they get detected the first time that they send out their nice shiny new payload, they're screwed. So they want to stay under the radar as long as they possibly can.
All right. So apparently this is some open source malware stuff here. It's on GitHub. It's built-in AV bypass and all that stuff, and you can use it along with Meterpreter if you'd like to get, I guess, a more resilient Meterpreter shell when you're on a system. You might not get caught as easily.
Zero, we get it. You can run jails from remote systems. We got you.
Okay.
You only need to say it once. We got you. And I totally agree.
All right. So
but yeah, some of the bypass techniques, are definitely interesting. Because not only are they trying to avoid sandboxes, right, and just not execute whenever they're in a sandbox, but there's some malware families who will do a scan of the localized hard drive, look and see what antivirus is running there, because a lot of the antiviruses will leave their hashes and signatures on the hard drive. You know, they don't just like keep them in memory or anything, which means those can be scanned. So the malware will, and you know, it's like a first run, right? So it's not the primary payload or anything. It's just like a benign function running. So that benign one will run. It'll scan the hard drive looking for signatures and hashes. Once it finds them, it'll take those signatures and hashes, compare it to its primary payload, see if it will be detected. If it will be detected, it'll mutate, you know, add 1 or 2 bits onto its payload, change the signature of it, and then revalidate, making sure it won't be detected now, and then execute the payload. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure. Next up in the show notes, we have some Apple stuff that I think you put in here.
Yep, I threw this on here real quick. Yeah, 0-day and sign in with Apple. So security researcher was able to find that if they took a Apple ID, there was so Apple up until recently. So this has been patched now, but wait, what did I just hear?
I don't know. It's still live. Just keep going.
Oh, okay. So the security researcher did make $100,000 for this bug bounty and this find. So what was found was that third-party applications would essentially utilize Apple's sign-in capabilities for third-party applications. And Apple did not necessarily require a secure channel for all of this to take place over, as well as if you did it in a, you know, essentially non-secure, you could get valid data back from Apple. And this valid data coming back could then enable you to overtake somebody's full Apple ID and essentially do anything as them and are than them.
Huh? So I said they only gave him $100,000 for that. He probably could have sold that on, you know, someplace on the dark web, made a few mil.
Yeah, I mean, he could have, but in the same sense, it's a security researcher doing the right thing. And it's Apple. And honestly, Apple pays pretty well for what they have. But, you know, I got to take my previous statement back. We've had a couple security firms who actually sell kind of 0 days, essentially say Apple's off the market right now. Here, I think that happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago, just because there were so many Apple exploits that it wasn't even worth them acquiring additional ones at this point in time. So you know, I'm not one of those people who say, yeah, go sell it to the person who pays the most. Like, if there's a bug bunny, I love bugs, but if there is a bug bounty and you are a security researcher, try to stay on the ethical side, because Apple actually does pay fairly well for their bug bounties. You know, I think 100,000 is the bare bones minimum that they pay out. And then it goes up to over 1 million, especially for like iOS related vulnerabilities or exploits. So, but yeah, this one pretty cool. One of the few that I've seen posted publicly recently. I have seen some posted non-publicly, but yeah, interesting for a public disclosure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Next, we have random shit bug out bag contents.
Oh yeah, I just think I'd ask this question: if you had to make a bug out bag, and what would you have in it? Now, like, let's say you were someone.
We need a specific person from Michigan on for this discussion.
Well, question. I have a question. What is a bug out bag?
Basically, it's basic supplies you need for quick survival if you have to leave your home really quickly.
Usually enough for 24 to 72 hours.
Yeah, essentially.
Usually, it's a couple changes of clothes. Socks are very important. Have water on you. Depending on your state laws, a personal firearm.
And And
Or if it is a bug out situation, do your state laws really apply? Probably
It
not
depends,
in regard to
but-
personal firearms.
I wouldn't think so.
For the matter of the live cast, we're just going to say, depending on state laws.
Yeah, all my firearms.
I'm talking bug out bags, right? We're talking
Okay,
bug out
so-
bags. You know, this is like on the verge of zombie apocalypse. You know that you need a bug out bag.
right here, we got all the protection going in that bag.
I was about to say, my bug out bag, I would have the following. Definitely plenty of bottled water.
Nintendo DS.
Nintendo Switch.
Oh, Switch, yeah.
Nintendo
So
Switch.
not a gamer. Damn it.
My Nintendo Switch. Also, my fish knives.
Okay, boomer.
I would definitely have my fish knives. My Glock
Wait,
millimeter.
fish knife?
Yeah, some things are useful.
like-
Be smart.
You
Yeah.
mean like a fillet knife?
No, fish knives, like the gut fish. I
Oh, okay.
have knives that I bought specifically from a fishing store in South Carolina that uses it to gut fish. So
Okay, do you have one of those that you can show me?
it's in the other, it's in the lock case, but it's in the other room because I
Charles,
got
do you do much fishing? Do you do much fishing? Do you
What's
do much fishing?
Do I do fishing?
Yes, much.
Yeah, my dad taught me how to fish, so I'm a good fisher.
I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
been in
Like,
like 25 years or better, probably.
Charles, you didn't know? Like, you haven't heard? So Charles, every morning, that's what he does. He gets up, he's naked, you know, then he puts his robe on, he goes out to the balcony, he goes out to his balcony, he starts singing, and he throws the first cast of the day. And he fishes off the balcony for the first 15 minutes. And that's how he starts his day, while singing to the entire community.
I don't start my day singing to the I actually
that's the only thing I said that was a lie.
I actually start my day by doing yoga stretches at 5 a.m. while the air is still cool outside. And, and I'm fully dressed.
And then after that, he puts the robe on.
Yeah, my dad was good at fishing. I never was particularly good at fishing. I don't know if it was something about what he did, because it seemed like he was just letting the worms sit out there. But he was able to catch all sorts of bluegill and so forth. And myself, I'd barely able to catch anything.
Yeah, because I mean that's your survival. It's a survival kit. So if I really need to eat and survive, I'm gonna get to the nearest like ocean or wherever. I'm get out there, or lake or river. I'm just gonna get out there and fish.
Yeah,
knives, huh?
They make survival fishing poles too, don't they? They are collapsible to where something you can get in a backpack.
They do.
Yes,
they do. But those are kind of hokey, though. I mean,
You want something compact.
They're hokey, but if it's in the case of survival, which we're talking about the survival scenario, they're pretty good.
I'm gonna say screw it. I'm still gonna take a regular fishing pole.
Well,
I'm gonna throw it on the side. You know, not like, but one that like separates down into 2 or 3 pieces, right? So it's only like 2 foot long, and I'm done.
I would definitely hop in my pickup truck. I wouldn't take a regular car. It'd be a pickup truck.
Oh yeah, Charles gonna have to pick them up.
Yeah, and or Subaru, something that's 4-wheel drive off road.
I got hey, Chevrolet.
That's right.
Not my Chevrolet.
Because you'll be able to find parts for it forever.
Yep. Hey, I'm from America.
America. Hey, just don't get a Land Rover.
No, I don't do that.
Because they'll be.
Jason Daniel Stone for a bug out bag. He says water filter, water bottle, sleeping bag, tarp, firearms, handgun, rifle, shotgun, fire starting kit, medicine, knives, food. That sounds about right. I have stuff with ease I can pack. So you know what?
If you can't get penicillin, there's actually fish amoxicillin, and again, not a fish officially you can't, but fish amoxicillin will work. And there's a few other, but for an absolute pinch, if you're like in a life or death situation, and then we have a much larger like medical like tourniquets and things like that. But then we have an EMT bug out also, so we have our regular bug out with his basically everything in there plus tarp, and then I have some tents that I have easy reach at all times. And then we have the medical bug out bag for emergencies.
Remember when that guy died from taking the fish hydroxychloroquine?
Well, it wasn't hydroxychloroquine.
That was fish tank cleaner. That wasn't even fish meds. And the amoxicillin is legitimately it's just amoxicillin.
The chemical, it wasn't the right chemical at all. And strangely enough, it seems that there's reason to believe that his wife fed it to him to try to kill him.
The rest of the story was she's been trying to kill him for a while.
Which means officially he died of COVID-19.
His wife was not a Trump supporter. His wife had Trump derangement syndrome. She was a big-time Democrat. So I seriously doubt she would take the advice of Donald Trump on anything. Not that he was giving advice, really, but there is apparently an investigation into whether or not he killed her husband by, take a little bit of self but give him a whole lot. Because apparently that dude was like an engineer, and by most accounts I've heard, a very intelligent guy. I don't think he's going to be drinking like a fish tank cleaner.
Well, I mean, too, that is one of the primary ingredients in a lot of dog heartworm medications, too.
No, that's Ivermectin, and that's actually also given to humans under dosage. It's very common when you go to another country. They prescribe that. It's completely different.
It depends.
Same as the drug, but a different chemical composition. Completely.
Like we currently have stuff for our animals here in the house that says straight on it hydroxychloroquine. And that's their heartworm and tick and flea and everything. Now, granted, I'm not going to take that, but still.
and learning dosages for cross species is very complicated too. So you have to really know what you're doing.
Back to the bug outside. Crap, I forgot the pills for water.
Aquatabs or Aquamira or anything like that.
Whatever it is that purifies water. That I like to have some of those, as well as the they got the straws, right?
Life straws, yeah.
Life straws, those are okay.
Those aren't bad in a pinch. I like those. Always love to have zip ties. Zip ties can be very, very good for a lot of different things.
Shelters, if nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, because too, if say you shoot somebody and or somebody is trying to attack you and harm or injure you, you still have zip ties. What do cops use to restrain people? Oftentimes, zip ties. They're very useful for a lot of things.
And you zip tie, and you go like this. And you break the zip tie.
Not the cops kind of zip ties. They get stronger zip ties.
Yeah, if I'm being attacked, I'm using jiu-jitsu to my way out.
I'm using Charles Jitsu. That's what I'm doing.
And on the subject of water, avoid the UV pins because those things are kind of crappy. If you use them as intended, they will not work fully because they did not expose particulate matter inside the water to UV light. If you pre-filter it first, like using like a catadine filter or something like that, and then use the UV light, you're good. But if you're doing that, you might as well just fucking boil it. Yep. And just be done with it.
Fire starters. Can I have fires? Probably two fire starters.
A bag of Doritos.
I'm so on the
dead
Doritos.
Serious. Bag of Doritos and a flint, and you're good to go. Because Doritos are the best fire starter.
They are good fire starters.
Yeah, the spicier the better. Is your best fire starter.
What was that, Charles?
Which one's Cool Ranch or regular?
Regular.
Any of Doritos Cool Ranch is fine. In fact, the more particulate spices they have in them, the more oily they are, and the better they actually. Do we have Doritos? I gotta start a bonfire tonight. Come to think of it. Okay, good. All right, we're good. We're covered.
Yeah, the fire starter I like to take something simple like a paper towel, soaking it in paraffin, and that'll light up stuff pretty damn well too.
Yeah, you could take.
How about bringing toilet paper?
TP is okay, but it's bulky and it goes out fast. Better off to have like wet wipes or compact. For fire starter, get one of those old cardboard egg cartons and fill it with paraffin wax and cedar shavings or some kind of flammable wood like balsa wood.
Sawdust,
Yeah, because that shit will burn really hot, really fast.
Yeah. What do you think of the idea of bringing some Everclear with you? Because you can use it for so many different things.
It's not bad, but like a lot of liquids, it's bulky and heavy.
Okay.
That's why you usually don't carry much water. Usually, you filter water, you procure it as you go. If you're in an environment that allows that. So I mean, if you want to carry a small bottle, sure, use it for disinfecting or trading or fire starting if you have to. In a pure emergency, that's probably the last thing I'd use it for.
Yeah.
Or if you got some good moonshine, that will disinfect a lot and start a lawnmower.
And two, depends on where you're bugging out to. If you're bugging out to Kentucky or Tennessee, yeah, you can hook up with some shiners and probably not even have to care about the alcohol side.
Yeah, no, not just for like you using it for like disinfectant, or if I need to start up something. I don't know.
Yeah, Everclear probably better for that though. It's more readily available because a lot of the moonshine you'll find in like a grocery store or a liquor store is that very weak moonshine that's mostly meant for flavor.
No, that's why you get with the shiners, like you.
No, that's you hook up. Yeah, they got the good shit up in the mountains.
Yeah, I know a guy in West Virginia who could hook me up with that.
You know,
people in the Smoky Mountains that can make. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Worst case scenario, I just realized this week I was looking at vanilla extract. So check out the vanilla extract that you purchase. The one that I get, which, anybody can buy. 45% alcohol.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, they use a lot of alcohol,
yeah.
but you gotta be careful. That's kind of low. I mean, that could be used for fire starter, but it's really too low for disinfecting.
I don't think that's
For disinfecting, you need at least 60%.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, holy crap, like you could potentially do something with that. Like I think it'd be hilarious to see kids find that out and be like, love me some vanilla extract.
If you burn that shit, it's gonna smell like vanilla everywhere. You're gonna attract people. I mean, yeah, the smell of a campfire is already an attractant, but if you smell vanilla, you're gonna go, someone's over there.
Oh no, that's gonna be the 16-year-old chugging it. Come on.
Well, hell, seeing the fire is going to show them I'm there.
Yeah, potentially. If you're heavily burning green stuff, and if you have the fire on 24/7, yeah. But if you're doing the fire at night or dusk till dawn, you are burning dry stuff, staying away from the green. It's going to be difficult to find you. But again, it depends on why you're bugging out, what the circumstance is. Back to things you want.
Take some survival advice from a bunch of computer nerds.
Well, I mean, I have spent weeks upon weeks in essentially walking into the woods with like 5 or 6 things and walk back out after a few weeks, just for fun, back whenever I was younger. Want to have some type of a hatchet, small axe, whatever you want to call it. Fishing line, because I've never actually had a fishing pole whenever I was out doing stuff. But fishing line and hooks I always had with me because I would always find worms. Oh, hey, Jack's here. Hey, Jack.
Jason's saying like 151 a wild turkey proof to start fire. Wait, I'm misreading it. I'm reading the wrong lines.
Correct.
He says you need over 120 proof.
Yes.
To start
for fire. Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about Everclear is also flammable. Oh hell, Everclear is hella flammable. You get the 190 version. My understanding, depending on what state you're in, you can't get the 190 version. But
it depends on the state.
Yeah, that's usually strong. I mean, yeah, as I was saying, at least 60%, which is 120 proof. If you have that, you can use it for disinfecting. You can use it for fire starting. There's a lot of things you can use it for. Below that, the ethanol content's too low to actually do much of anything with.
You clean your balls with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
They'll come out nice and shiny. Whenever I used to camp, so I never used to camp like with a tent. I mentioned a tarp earlier. I would do a tarp if it was going to rain. And then I used to always lay out on a hammock. So I'd find 2 trees, sling it up. That was how I camped. And then if it rained, threw another line over top of me with a tarp over it, stake it down, and there you go. So, yep. That's, bug spray. Either have a mosquito net, or a mosquito net is probably going to be the best option. because bug spray is not infinite, and a mosquito net is, and makes sleeping at night a lot nicer, whether you are in a tent or not.
You'll also prevent disease that way too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And something else I would add to what you said is with a hatchet, add a small hammer if you don't have one, like a mallet. If you don't have one, that to hammer stakes or something like that as well. Because with a hatchet and hammer, you can easily split wood that way.
Or
It's a lot
use the
easier.
back of your hatchet. Yeah, or like you having the hatchet and then something to hit the hatchet with is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a small rubber mallet or something like that. Because if you're driving stakes or anything like that, you're gonna need one anyways. But if you have that, great, because that makes that job so much easier.
Actually, a little portable tomahawk's not too bad. You can get some fairly compact tomahawks and have a hammer on the backside.
Be careful. Most of those may be too thin or too flimsy to do splitting wood with. So you have to find that balance. Usually, if they're built for throwing, they're light enough where they may not split wood very well, much beyond like very small logs. If you want something bigger, you may actually need like a proper hatchet.
The ones I've got are pretty damn tough, man.
Yeah. Try it before you do it. That's what I would recommend.
Oh, and we mentioned a gun earlier. I would say if you are to have a gun, you should select something either of I'm going to say even though I don't like 38, either a 38 or a 9mm. One of those two should be your primary. Like, you can have your other stuff, but 38 and 9 are the most prevalent ammo available within the U.S.
45 is pretty damn common too.
Yeah, and I want to say 45, but it's not as common, because if you compare the cost of a 45 to a 9, it's going to be about 50% more, and you're just going to have a lot lot more people with 9mm. Yeah, and nine for me is going to be number one. Right. But I do throw 38 in because I know a stupid amount of people with 38s.
Also, keep in mind too that same gun in 45, like say they take the exact same Smith & Wesson MP, that it's going to be a heavier frame, heavier slide, magazine's going to be heavier, so it's more weight you have to carry.
Less capacity.
Less capacity, so it's net loss.
Wheel gun or automatic?
Semi-auto, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you have an automatic 9, screw it, yeah. But most people aren't going to. Make sure you know how to build a suppressor with very cheap parts. It costs.
I'm really partial to
$1.
I'm kind of partial to my Colt Python. It's pretty.
Revolvers are not infallible. That's the thing you got to keep in mind. But yeah, they are very rugged, but revolvers can fail. If they have timing issues, you blow the gun up. So they are not the wonderkin that you may think they are.
I tell you, there's a gun I saw. The reason I thought was interesting because it folds in half. It's called the Caltech Sub 2000.
Oh, the CM16, yeah.
They're working on an updated version type of it because the way it folds currently, you can't put an optic on it without taking the optic off. But they're working on one that folds and turns so you can keep the optic on it. I don't know if you looked into those Caltech Sub 2000s.
No, but I'm looking at it.
I've heard of them. Caltech is either hit or miss.
I mean, most of their stuff's not too shabby.
The Sub 2000 is okay. The CM16 is their other rifle version of that. It's okay. But for survival, I probably wouldn't use one of those.
Oh. The other thing, so 9mm, I would definitely have a 9mm. I would also have some type of a 22. Just because there's 22s, there's a lot that you can easily break down, and there's a lot of 22 ammo available. And there's going to be stuff that I want to shoot with a 22 that I don't necessarily want to shoot with a 9mm. Especially in a hunting perspective.
Jason's putting a bunch of
very good execution gun. That's what we use for all of our animals here when it's time to pre-butcher.
Yeah.
Jason put in a lot of suggestions like hatchet, knife, torp, sleeping bag, fire starting kit. I think I've always said that one before. Tent, if you are lucky. Sleeping pad also. That's a lot of stuff to carry though. Hammocks are awesome. Never actually used one for sleeping in. Yes, bugs suck. 100%.
Awesome.
and you can make a wooden out of mallet out of a small log. Okay.
You can make a wooden mallet. So
Okay.
you don't necessarily have to take like a hammer or something else to be able to hit your hatchet. You can take your hatchet, make a mallet, and then take your hatchet, for splitting wood, and take the wooden mallet you made and, hit your hatchet.
Jason seems to like that Caltech Sub 2000. He also suggests his .22 long rifle and a shotgun. But I mean, there's only so much you can ultimately carry. But then again, if you're filling up your car with shit, that wouldn't be a bug out bag though. That would be a bug out car.
Yeah, I mean, if you want something very versatile, both Savage and Chiappa make a combo gun. It's Chiappa is a direct copy of the old M6 Aircrew Survival Rifle, which is a .22 rifle over a 410 shotgun. Savage also has that too, the Model 42, which their Model 42R is removable, so you can actually take it apart and fold it in half and store in a bag. Chiappa's actually has a system for their 12 gauge barrel instead of 410, where you can actually put inserts into it and fire like 9mm, 40, 45, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 410 gauge.
Wait, how do you spell Chiappa and what model was that?
Chiappa.
Well, you forgot the silent Z.
What model was it?
It's their M6. I think that it's basically their clone copy of the M6 air survival rifle.
Okay.
Here, I'll put it in chat.
Oh,
here.
dude, if we were talking about bugging in, dude, there are about 50,000 guns that I'm gonna have. So.
Oh yeah, I'm not planning on bugging out.
Yeah, bug in is because Jason said, "How about bugging in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bugging in. That's a whole nother story. Bugging out."
Some of you were on the cast when I said this. Apparently, I pissed off somebody with my when the looty loot start, the shooty shoot start, or what was it? No, wait, do the
the baby Yoda.
Yeah, do the looty loot. Get the shooty shoot. People don't understand there's a difference between protesting and looting. Anyway, off topic.
The same people get really offended at that shit. They go out of their way to say there's a difference between protesters and looters, and then you bitch about looters, and they like.
No, I mean,
do that.
Yeah, I mean, like there are a difference between protesters and looters, right? Because we've seen a lot of peaceful protests, and then we've seen the protests move over into looting. And like I said earlier, we've seen like essentially, I think who somebody mentioned it, where essentially the protests occurred and the people like kind of left, and then Mary said it, right?
That's what happens in Santa Monica, because I have friends out there because I used to work out there, and they said what happened was peaceful protest happened like between 2 and 3 o'clock out in Santa Monica, Venice area in California. Perfectly peaceful, regular, just parade. That exactly what it's supposed to be. They all went home at 3. 4 o'clock, buses and vans and started to show up, that's when the looting started. As soon as it started towards dark.
Yeah,
and that's when it got bad. But by then, everyone else had already gone home.
Yeah, and there were cities where. Wait, who was that? Who was that?
Go ahead.
Oh, that was Jack. Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
You spoke up. So what were you gonna say?
I mean, it was the same thing that happened here. It was basically peaceful protest. They marched on to the Highlands, and then bam, out of nowhere, 4th Street gets freaking destroyed by looters.
No, really?
Yeah.
That like where all the restaurants are and everything, right?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Ruben Dodge played some of that. He sent me a video of what happened at 4th Street.
Did they go through and like hit the Hyatt and keep going down that far?
Yeah, they bashed in everything from the Brown all the way over to the other side of Smashburger.
It's been absolutely just heartbreaking.
I got a stupid question, but we built all that contract tracing shit. How hard would it be for them to turn that on, and find out where all those protesters are and who they are? Not the protesters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would, but also that's going to end up being a complete invasion of privacy too, though, right?
There's that. Just saying, it's the technology there.
Yeah, from a police state perspective, that's like the wet dream. Like, that's it right there.
But it's been killing. We've had what's worse is the amount of murders now that we've had caused by some of these rioters, and it's been like we lost a former IU football player up in Indianapolis over the weekend. There was that retared cop from Missouri, retired police chief. This is it's black men. That's what's even it's horrible enough, but that makes it even worse. It's like you are why are you actually here? There's no logic to anything, and it's just
my favorite thing of the last week was looters. Not the looters was my favorite thing, but you have the looters, and then you had this white guy with a mask on, I think robbing a Target.
Yeah.
And stealing Legos.
Yes.
That by far.
Yeah, there were two black guys up in front, I think, destroying the kiosk you check out to get money out of it. And then there's one white guy in the background in a mask just strolling on by with a big case of Lego set.
I need to talk about the Legos. They cost like $400.
I mean, yeah, the Lego. I'm not gonna lie, Legos are fucking expensive, but
that was probably $250 set of Star Wars Lego. But either it's the whole. I'm stupid.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And then he probably went home and built the.
And then he probably went and posted on Facebook his new thing that he just built.
I'm making sure I have nothing embarrassing up right now. I'm gonna share my screen for just a second. Let me see if I can figure it. All right.
Continue talking while you share your screen, otherwise it goes away.
All right. Can you all hear me? All right, I'm gonna play this thing.
Yes.
Wait, it's not playing. Hold on, volume. Can you see it? Yep.
Yes.
Wait, now what is that? Is that the Hyatt?
Yes, that's the Hyatt.
Yeah, that's yeah, I think it. No,
that's Brown or something across the street. I think, or whatever building that's called.
Wait,
that
yeah, 4th Street Live. We're right next to DerbyCon. Well, basically where DerbyCon did happen.
That looked damn familiar.
Yeah, that is the. Well,
no, that's what it costs. The Hyatt is. He's going to walk towards the Hyatt here in a bit. So see what 4th Street Live is. Or I could be on crack. I don't know. No, I think he's looking at the.
Yeah, that's 4th Street Live.
Yeah,
because
is that the Brown Foreman building?
Good morning. It's Marcus Herring here. I'm going to try to show you all some of the damage that's been left behind here on
Ruben Dodge
4th Street Live. I mean, you can just look even right
Shotgunner
here. You
101,
can see how big this hole behind me in the glass is. I'm going to flip the camera around here to try to show you a little bit better of what's still over here. You can see that this glass has gone through here. And you can actually, if you listen closely, you can still hear some alarms going off, and there are still protesters that are down here. And you can hear actually right now some of those first responders still out here on 4th Street Live. These are some of the security guards getting here. And I'm trying to avoid a lot of the graffiti, and a lot of people have been out here wiping some of the graffiti off. This is one of those ATM machines down here. But just look at all the glass that's been left behind. You can see that some people clearly made it inside of this bank. There's a lot of damage inside, but look at outside of here. You can see this whole window has been broken out due to those protests that happened here in Louisville, downtown Louisville, overnight. Police broke those up, but you can see again, glass littered all through here. I'm just going to poke into this window that's been broken out. You can see that it looks like from the damage that's left behind, some protesters made it actually inside this building. And if you've been down here to 4th Street Live, you know exactly where I am. This is that T-Mobile on 4th Street. Look at this. This window is just gone right now. And you can see it looks like a lot of the phones have also been taken as well from this business. Just absolutely heartbreaking to see all of this shattered glass as people protested the death of Breonna Taylor, as well as some of them were protesting for George Floyd. And they were.
Oh, I don't remember the entire story, but Breonna Taylor, if she was someone who the cops came in on a no-knock raid, and she got shot in the process. I've heard debatable things whether about her house was the intended target or not. I'm not quite sure on that matter.
It was. It was because they felt that she was involved in whatever this person was doing, and it was just a instant comedy of errors. One, they didn't check with a local postal inspector. They checked with like somebody who wasn't local to the area, because the local postal inspector would have had more pertinent information, whereas whoever the person was that they checked with did not know. And that's just the way the policy with Louisville Metro is basically just check with a postal inspector rather than the postal inspector.
I'm gonna play the rest of this then.
Protesting for Ahmaud Arbery, but really this just shows that it really got out of hand, and maybe some of the protesters maybe lost sight of what they were here for. This is all of the glass just in front of this T-Mobile out here, and there are still people out here with me as well, some protesters. So I'm going to try to be safe, and I'm staying close to my photographer who's also here with me here on the scene. Again, we are on 4th Street right now.
I've been up and down the stairs behind him like 20 times.
And we've seen business owners also.
I really wish that he'd break his language up, because that's not protesters. Just
up
call
there,
what they are.
broken out windows again. If you're just joining us, we're on 4th Street Live in downtown Louisville. This window behind me has been broken out. I want to show you this Chipotle. We're going to go across the street over here.
Yeah, I think that's
as well.
Chipotle is right next
to
to
show you a different building.
Hyatt, right?
I actually want to flip it over. This is the Brown and Williamson Tower right here.
It's getting close, yeah.
Yeah, the Chipotle is like
maybe inside of there. The glass is spilled into there, and we have seen. Let me flip this. Sorry, there's a lot of crude graffiti still out here that I am trying to cover it up. But even look at this. People have been flipping these just plants here. Flipping trash cans over and across the street. You can see the trash in the street. Another one of those completely out of the pot over there. This one flipped over here. This one flipped over
in
here.
Indianapolis, we had people steal on the plant side of the flower pots.
On the corner of 4th Street. Again, another window scattered out like this.
I think that's where. I think I was there with Mary, Matt, and
this is
your
usually
daughter.
One of the hot spots.
Yeah. We were just down there not that long ago at Gordon Biersch together.
Welcome people that know. A lot of people know more about this one area, maybe as much as Bardstown Road as well. Again, a lot of graffiti that I don't want to show here on Facebook Live as we're sharing this out to our WLKY page. I'm going to flip around here. Come around here, actually, just 1 second. Wait for this to cross. We're seeing that police are also, as I mentioned, still out tonight.
Might want to mute that.
And surprisingly, I mean, for it being so early in the morning, a lot of people still out here. Let me flip this. You can see right here, this one reads, "No justice, no peace." This is the Dunkin' Donuts on 4th Street.
Oh, that side
window, I don't know how well you can see it in the dark.
Yeah,
but that window is also busted out as well. And really,
where's Trevor's family gonna live?
I'm watching where I'm sipping. A lot of glass has been.
That's Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I know.
What would it be? His great grandchildren now?
It probably would be. It's a whole. I don't know. There's just so
the corners that I saw a lot of as we were driving down here. Now, when we were looking at the Hyatt as we got down here, there wasn't
here we go. Hyatt.
But I want to show you just one building over from it.
Doesn't look like they hit the Hyatt.
Almost every single one of these windows has been broken out. I mean, these are massive windows too. Check this out right here.
Yeah, that's a visitor
center. Just trashed this morning. Lots of littered glass on here. And really just showing how intense those protests started peaceful yesterday, and they kind of escalated. A lot of the things turned violent. They turned to be very damaging and destroying. If you saw news cars also being damaged in that, but you can see the windows busted out and inside some of the damage as well over there. This morning, we are still surveying the damage. I mean, we've had crews out here 24 hours around the clock. Some of our crews even, suffering injury while reporting as well. So really keeping them in our prayers this morning. But unfortunately, we still need to see how bad some of the damage is. We've been on just a few streets in the last hour or so. And still talking with people who are out here. Some of them are still emotional, don't want to speak. Some of them are saying, this is unfortunate that it turned to this. This isn't what we wanted. And so, really just wanted to give you an idea of just some of the spots that if you've been to Louisville, you may know. Again, 4th Street here. This is the Starbucks on 4th Street. Also had its windows broken out. And let's see if I can turn the flash on. That should
Man. Asinine.
You can see that it's ended up suffering a lot more damage inside as well. Looks like they also destroyed a lot of that cooler that's in there as well.
There's no window. Just go in and show us.
Here.
Wait, what building did you just show glass broken out?
They just Starbucks connected to the Hyatt.
Oh, okay.
And then that's Chipotle next door.
Cars still driving down 4th Street this morning. But I mean, this is just what we're seeing really on almost every street we turn down, 4th, 5th, 6th, over by the Hall of Justice. A lot of writing, a lot of profane writing, but also a lot of writing to police as well. So we'll be having more coverage coming up. I know a lot of people are on with questions. We'll be live on WLKY News this morning, starting at 5 o'clock this morning. We're going to have coverage throughout the day, but we want to just make sure we've surveyed the damage and, gotten a good grip on this before we go on the air as well. And we want to make sure that we're also being safe as well. If you don't have to come down here, you shouldn't come down here. It looks like they're trying to clean it up. There's a lot of broken glass. I mean, even if I just flip it back over, you can see almost every one of these has suffered some sort of shattered glass in this building right here in front of me. But yes, we'll be having more, and you can see our coverage even from last night. A lot of that video, Chopper HD was up last night, so you can see some of the video from above the ground of how many people were even out here, just to see all of those people filling the streets and just to see the police response as well. You'll hear from Mayor Fisher. You can download the full WLKY app. You can watch live as well as catch up on our coverage at any time.
All right, and that gentleman who was on there, let me crap. I'm having a boomer moment, guys. Pardon me.
Again?
Apparently. That guy was not a guy named Mavis Herring, and reporter for apparently WLKY. And that was sent to me. I'm trying to find by Ruben. Come on, go back to Ruben Street. Yes, Shotgunner 101.
Hey, I do want to point out that their call was WLKY, so like W Licky.
Her. And I got we had a photographer post one of the local Bloomington groups their pictures from Indianapolis. And there's like 79 of them, and they just completely trashed Circle Center. Like every single window has been popped out around the monument, all the way up to the Capitol building. There's just graffiti like everywhere. And like I said, we lost there was two John Does. One was identified as the former IU. I want to say Betty, but
it's saying that Portland got pretty fucked up too.
Yeah, I have a link to that stuff because my brain doesn't function very well off of memory. So
Portland's like Antifa Central, so I imagine there were a lot of people taking shit there.
Yeah.
And then Vegas, I know, had cops put in jail or cops put in the hospital. Atlanta, I think, is where the business owner was beaten to death in the street. I think.
Well, it was the manager of the Atlanta Underground was murdered when he went back to check on Atlanta Underground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Yeah.
No justice, no peace.
KNOW justice, KNOW peace.
All right. Any other things to say on the bug out bag?
Well, typical bug out bag is only supposed to last you 48 to 72 hours. So keep it light because you are going to have to hold that around.
Yeah, screw it. Depends on your physical fitness. If you can consistently carry 65 to 75 pounds, do it. If you can only carry 20 to 30 pounds, that's what you take.
I'm already carrying like 100 pounds extra.
I think I'd probably do, if I had to bug out, it wouldn't be a bug out bag, but I'd probably pack all my guns and ammo and head out to Mary's.
You're not going to be able to carry all ammo.
You have what now?
We got caves. I posted in the chat. I got to go take care of some stuff real quick with the animals. But I posted in the chat the link. It's Chris Betty, and if you guys want to read over that story, that it's tragic. But he lost his life trying to protect two women who were in the process of being mugged on Saturday night.
Ah, that sucks.
He was shot by rioters. So.
Wow.
And then there was that one, I think in St. Louis, that one retired cop who got shot because someone wanted to steal a TV from I believe it was a pawn shop he was defending. Apparently his friend owned the pawn shop or something. And as far as Black Lives Matter, he was a black guy too, and someone killed him over a TV.
Hey, killing people, there's no racism there. Whenever it comes to theft.
It better have at least been HD.
Oh, hell, that's some dark humor.
That was some dark humor, Frank. Jackass.
Okay, I guess that next brings us to home defense firearms. What do people recommend?
I know shit about guns, but I'm
still in normal circumstances, home defense side.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go more on kind of bullet, right, than necessarily a specific firearm. And cheaper amount. Darren, are you still on?
I am.
Oh, good. Yes, because I know you'll enjoy discussing this one too. So I'm always a proponent for home defense situation. You're talking short spaces or small spaces. We don't need it to be, accurate up to 100, 200 foot type of thing. Shotgun is always going to be one of my tops. And then after shotgun, because I'm one of those people, I'm not going to have just one. I'm still going to have either a 9 or a 45, not both, but I'm going to have one or the other. Depends on where I'm at in the house. The shotguns are going to be accessible, as well as either a 9 or a 45 is going to be accessible, and I'm going to have either a 9 or a 45. And shotgun, if you are a full-size person, 12 gauge should be appropriate. If you're comfortable with it and everyone else in your house is comfortable with it, 10 gauge, but not a lot of people
stick with 12 gauge
across the board are comfortable. But yeah, 12 gauge, it's easy. Most women can be comfortable with 12 gauge, from a husband wife. Huh?
I've never seen 10 gauge in a store. How common?
Really?
How expensive is it?
It's pretty uncommon. It used to be very common caliber back in the Wild West era, but it's kind of phased out by 12 gauge now.
Yeah, and I do have a couple 10 gauges, and two, they are older. But if I'm going to go against somebody and it's just me, like my wife, no, she's not gonna fire at the 10 gauge and stay upright. Like, there is no chance.
Jason's suggestion, Jason, who should just attach to the chat or attach to the hangout. For home defense, AR-15 or AK, 20 or 12 gauge shotgun. See, the one thing I heard about ARs and AKs, possible ability of over penetration depending on the type of ammo you got.
Yes.
No. Actually, no. That's a common misconception. Double-aught buckshot will overpenetrate drywall more than 5.56. 5.56 will hit drywall and begin to deflagrate almost instantly because it's so high velocity.
Okay. Even full metal jacket?
Yes. Especially Full Metal Jacket, actually, because it's gonna start breaking apart more. But if you're really want for home defense, you can get hollow points in 5.56 and be okay with that.
Yeah.
I think Hornady Critical Defense. There's a couple of them.
S-Ham says there's a DEF CON talk called Boomstick Foo about this topic.
I would never ever. I mean, but this is me. I'm never putting hollow points in my ARs.
There's no harm in doing that, honestly, at all.
That just seems like I don't know.
I mean, there's literally zero harm to doing that. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, but too, like, you got to think. So first off, I'm more so out in the country. You know, I don't have somebody on another side of an apartment, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in a house. I am an accurate shot. Like, but even with that, like, I'm gonna be looking shotgun. Man, like, the only time I would look at picking up the ARs is if somebody is like running a freaking away and I need to shoot them down. Like, I'm not gonna be looking at an AR for a close combat type of thing.
Right, you're gonna use it as a perimeter defense.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you could do it for both because, I mean, AR will be shorter than most shotguns. I mean,
now I got a shotgun though that's pretty damn short. The KSG, because it's a bullpup operation.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's kind of a pain in the ass to load and a little bit of a pain in the ass to operate.
Yeah, and I've heard they have some issues with reliability too. So that's something you really want to make sure is reliable.
But how many shot is that? Does that have the drum on it?
No, it's a dual feed. It's
okay.
a dual tube. It's 14 plus 1, I believe.
Holy shit!
14 plus 1, and that's assuming you're using full size 12 gauge. You can get half shells. So you
The
can
mini mags, yeah.
What are they called?
Wow.
The mini mags by Agala.
And apparently, a feed knows too.
Hey, which anybody who's watching, Darren does sell. So.
I was thinking if you're like a business in one of these areas with all the riots, maybe just put a sign out in front of your business that says black-owned business.
That doesn't necessarily
that doesn't help anything. But too, if you do contact Darren and mention Irongeek, let's see, Irongeek 2020, he'll give you 5% discount. Though, granted, right before he gives you that discount, he's going to increase his price by 5%. So you're going to pay retail, but do it just for fun.
No, what you should have said is I'll give you a 5% discount, but Israel's going to cover that 5%.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Of course, because I'm that nice of a guy.
But, I mean, yeah, for home defense, I've got both an AR and a shotgun next to my bed. Both are ready to go at a moment's notice, so I can use either one. I'm probably going to grab the AR first because it has a light on it. It's ready to go. Having a light on your gun for home defense is incredibly important, especially if you're dealing with home invasion in the middle of the night, because you want to make sure that what you are actually shooting is the bad guy, not your spouse, not your kid, not your dog.
Mother-in-laws.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Make sure that target ID is super important in the dark because, again, you've just been woken up, your mind's a little cloudy, things are dark.
Pissed off because you're awake.
Yeah, I mean, and your adrenaline's pumping, so you better have damn good target ID before you pull that trigger because once you pull that trigger, you can't take it back.
Don't shoot your dog.
Yeah.
Don't.
Or
else John Wick will come and find you. Because he likes your dogs too.
Oh, I see Jack has a new avatar.
He does. It's very prolific, thoughtful. I feel it's very mindful. Like Jack.
Yeah. There was this couple that owned a house and they weren't occupying it, so they put a shotgun in there.
Like with a string attached to the door?
Or because the house kept getting robbed over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I remember this. Like, what ended up happening with that?
He sued them and won.
Yeah, because in a lot of jurisdictions consider making booby traps, and that's very much illegal. So he's lucky if he just got off with a lawsuit, because that's usually a felony.
They were in the house and they set that trap, but since they weren't in the house and they set that trap, it's not legal.
Huh.
Well, even if you are in the house, it obviously varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, but that still usually falls afoul of booby trap laws, which are big no-nos. That's usually felony.
Right.
Interesting. Like I never thought about that, because whenever I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, I was staying with my grandma during the summer for like a week, right? And nice little old grandma. And we hear on the radio, because grandma didn't have a TV, that somebody escaped from prison somewhere in Indiana. And so what do? Like, I rig up this booby trap system. If they come in, they're going to end up getting shot with an arrow. And that just reminds me of like
Home Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone, but yeah. But things you think of and do whenever you're a kid, and then you, like, as an adult, it's like, no, that sounds pretty stupid. Like, I shouldn't do that. Though rigging up something like that, if I had and didn't know the laws, actually have and having watched Indiana Jones, I'm kind of okay with rigging up a booby trap. If it's personal property, nobody's going to be there. I know how to disarm the booby trap before I go into the residence, or I've left instructions if I were to die for somebody that I've appointed to go into the residence and can disarm the booby trap. To do it, like, I feel like I'm kind of okay with booby traps.
I'm okay with anything that has boobies in it.
Yeah, I figured so. Or even like the welcome mat, where I have it rigged up that I can just like press a button and somebody drop like 40 foot under the welcome mat down into the ground into a dungeon. I mean, that's probably not good. I shouldn't say that.
No, that's definitely not good.
They should come into the house first. But if they come into the house, I feel like a booby trap should be appropriate. Because there have been movies with the welcome mats, and they fall down and then they go into whatever. But yeah, I feel like the booby traps in the house should be okay if it is a personal residence. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do.
For myself, I have a bunch of shotguns, but I don't have enough practice with them, so I don't really feel reliable using them. Like,
really,
it's cool, but I haven't shot many of them. I've gone out.
You should really go out and shoot some shotguns. Like, don't shoot slug, shoot double-aught, and like, get used to expansion. Spread and everything that double-aught gives you.
I've shot my pistol and my AK and my AR and all that a bunch, but I don't know. Other than my KSG, I don't think I've shot any of the shotguns I own.
And that's another reason why I would go shotgun over AR, just because, or AK, because whenever you were in a close combat, right? And whenever I'm saying this, I'm not just thinking me. I'm thinking my wife. My kids, as I grow up and they get older, or they grow up and they get older, my wife's not going to be, dead on. Like, I'm a good shot. My wife, not as good a shot. She's not too shabby, surprisingly, but she's not too bad. But she's not going to be dead on every time, right? And I would rather have her having, a shotgun with buckshot in it, having that spread, than having to be fully accurate with, say, a 9mm or 45 or an AR or an AK, and just being able to shoot more widespread and still be able to take out the enemy. But that's me. Darren, thoughts? I mean, especially whenever you're talking, like, not just you, right? Because you're a good shot. Like, is your wife a good shot? Like,
yeah, she
I
is.
don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, she she's from the South. I mean, she grew up in Arkansas. Yeah, she knows how to shoot.
Well,
I have been shooting with her. She knows what she's doing. So
yeah, but do you think though, and with her being a good shot, would you rather her have like an AR-AK or a shotgun, where it's point and shoot, you're probably going to hit, or shotgun, you are going to hit.
Well, a shotgun is not a magic, you point in a general direction and pull the trigger and they go away. No, you still have to aim and get on target for it to actually have effect. No, yes, it does. That's a complete bullshit myth. Don't fall into that shit.
At 25 foot, it's
your
hard.
Your spread is not that big. Your spread is no more than a foot or two. So
yeah, you're still talking a foot or two. Whereas 2 foot with an AR, you're talking 2 foot. That's somebody's body width.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could be
doesn't mean you're actually going to hit them either, unless you're actually aiming properly with the shotgun. So they don't spread like to encompass this wide area. That's a whole bunch of bullshit from movies and video games and shit like that. That doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I mean, but still, you're going to have a 2 foot spread at 20 to 30 foot.
You're still trying to assume that it's going to spread and they're going to you're going to have this cone of death, which it just does not happen. That's just complete myth. I mean, there's multiple studies on there showing that no, this is not the case. You need to go look that up and educate yourself, man. Come on.
But they're still going to be spread.
Not enough to matter.
Because I've watched a lot of stuff. I've done my own stuff, and especially if I throw birdshot in, I have a lot freaking more spread.
Don't fucking use birdshot for home defense. You fucking moron.
I take it doesn't penetrate enough?
No, it does not. Dick Cheney shot someone in the face with birdshot and he walked out of the fucking forest. That should tell you why not to use birdshot.
Well,
it is awesome.
Well,
but whenever Dick Cheney shot him, he was 40, 50 yards away. He didn't shoot him close at all. Birdshot, whenever you are, talking 20, 25 foot, you can do some amazing damage with birdshot.
It's still skin deep. It's not going to penetrate deep enough to cause a CNS hit, which will drop a person.
Yeah, but the field squad do pain, they'll just drop down. I mean,
not necessarily. If they're drugged out, if they're on some drug where they don't feel pain, or if they've got some nervous system disorder where they don't feel pain or whatever, they will still keep coming. And I mean, there's lots of conditions. Yeah, and there's been lots of cases where someone will get shot a bunch of times, and because it's not actually stopping the nerve impulses, they'll keep going because it's just reflex at that point.
Because they're a zombie.
What would a deer slug do to a human being, like a rifled deer slug?
Oh, they're big holes.
Yeah, deer slug is great, but I mean that's going to cause a lot of penetration too. That's why I would not recommend deer slugs unless you're shooting over distance. Go recommend for number 4 or double aught buck.
Yeah, I mean because slug, you're talking the size of the actual.
It's a 1 ounce slug.
Yeah,
it's a 1 ounce 0.6 diameter.
Whenever it comes out the back, it's coming out 2 to 3 inches. Hole. It's going to be crucial, but then again, it's a single piece of ammunition going, and you have to hit your target. So, yeah.
So I mean, if you're gonna use slugs, use a rifle because a rifle will have faster follow-up shots, and it's easier on the recoil. So don't use slugs unless it's specialized, I need to shoot through body armor, or I need to shoot more than 50 yards. Then pop a slug, but that's a very unlikely scenario that any of us would ever have to deal with. Now again, all that said, for my wife, for her, I mean, I would tell her to shoot whatever she feels comfortable with. If she wants to shoot a shotgun because she's comfortable with it, fucking go for it.
Yeah. I will agree with that, and to that is, as everybody's probably heard and remembered, and Darren, you repeat this too, right? you get and you shoot. You use for self defense what you are comfortable with.
Yep.
You don't want to just go out and buy something and then think in a moment whenever you are having to defend yourself that you're going to be able to get a gun. It's got all these safety crap on it that you're going to be able to remember what you have to do to actually fire this thing. You want to have a gun that is...
And that's the reason my shotguns I haven't really loaded up and got ready, because I'm not as familiar with the operation. Because with PSG, I have a problem with short stroking it. Because I normally like
that's what we all have heard.
But for some reason with my KSG, I'm not stroking it long and hard like I do everything. I just short stroke it a lot, and I should, you have to be careful of that.
And this is going to get looped out, and we're all going to have fun with this.
I always have to long stroke it because it takes a lot of time to get all the way up and down it. But,
yes, it does, Adrian. Yes, it does. Thank you for that.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, that's a very valid point. Is learn the manual of arms for whatever it is you're using, because it shit's gonna go wrong. You'll have failure to fire, failure to eject. Learn how to deal with those. Learn how to load, reload, because you go, oh, I need one magazine. Well, what if you have a jam in your magazine, which is the number one source of failures on any semi-auto, is your magazine being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Then okay, swap mags, and how do you return the gun to battery?
Yep.
Can you do it under
a lot of
stress?
range time and getting used to operations and really important. And I need to get me a membership with one of these conservation clubs in the area because I need more practice.
Or get a buddy out in the country where you can go shoot.
I got one, but I've been kind of locked down in COVID. Not to mention he has a granddaughter running around and some dogs, and it's kind of it's always convenient for him to let me just come on out and shoot.
Yeah. But ultimately, just make sure whatever you get, whatever gun you get, is probably going to be good for you. Make sure you get something that is comfortable in your hand, something you like shooting. That, because like pistol grip is going to be a big thing. For a male, if you have a grip that is too small, man, that ends up really hurting your hand. That may be more appropriate for a woman. If you're a woman and you have a grip that's too big, it's going to be bulky, and the grip won't be right. Like, find something grip wise that's appropriate. Get a trigger pull that's appropriate. Right? Because trigger pull is going to be big too. If you have a revolver, it's going to be a lot harder trigger pull than a semi-automatic. So
and the recoil impulses can be a lot more severe too, and it might hurt you actually.
Also depends on the semi-automatic, because some semi-automatics are like double action only.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it depends if you're firing hammer fired or striker fired, and how that also works too.
I think my little PT-22 is it's
hammer fired for sure.
Yeah,
it's a Bren 90 clone. So yeah,
I've heard mixed things on that because it does look a lot like it has the flip barrel, but I've heard other people say mechanically it's not the same.
It's probably different, but it's very close. But
it's different, but very close.
I'm sure it has some differences, but
they look a lot like the operation. Look a lot like
it's the same, but it's not.
And I got mine in purple pink. It makes me feel in touch with my girly side.
That's right.
My feminine side.
We always like whenever you get in touch with that. But ultimately, make sure it's something you're going to be comfortable firing and shooting,
and learn proper trigger discipline, learn proper grip. If don't teacup a handgun, don't learn how to grip it properly, because that's literally a bad problem, because if you teacup it like you see in the movies, you're putting pressure in the magazine that's going to lead to failures to feed, failure to extract, failure to eject, and things like that,
and then failure to launch.
I know some weird things you take new people out for shooting, but one of my buddies, he took my Python, and it's double action, but you can do it single action. You cock back the hammer. He was silly enough to cock back the hammer, have it pointing down towards his feet, walk up the firing line with his finger on the trigger.
Fuck.
Yeah. He didn't shoot his foot, luckily, but a Python, once you actually have the hammer back, it don't take much pressure on that trigger at all. And I see another guy who came in from Great Britain. It was someone who played role-playing games with my buddy Brett. And he put his hand in such weird locations where I'm like, dude, you can't have your hand there. The slider hit you. I'm like, I don't know.
Slide bite.
Slide bite or slide burn.
Might be because my uncle raised me with guns. But I would think even from watching movies and TV, you would know that's not the way you hold.
I mean, slab bite's one of those things that you learn. You experience it once and you learn, and you don't do it again if you're smart.
And if you have 1911s, like you won't encounter that.
I think
Like,
it was.
no,
probably-
it'll jam up on you. That's why. You
Yeah,
push your magazine.
like, but if you have like a Polish P64 or what's the James Bond gun?
PPK.
A PPK, you know, like the smaller guns, you end up having your hand, you know, a little bit hot. Oh, damn. It is so easy. You have to be very conscious about that.
Actually, I think the guy who was shooting actually had a 1911 at the time. He had
How
his
the
hands in such
freak do you do that?
I think he had.
I mean, because it's got the little, like.
I don't know. Is it spur?
Beaver tail.
Yeah, beaver tail.
I think his hand. I don't think it was his hand holding the handle. It was his other hand. Someplace where the slide was going to hit it.
Oh, he was probably doing that back of the hand grip, which is I've seen that done before, which is good for like certain positions, but not for
It's been
normal
like
shooting.
15 years since I saw it. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, but the same thing too. You know, is go get some training. Go, you know, if this is your first gun, go talk to someone who knows how to shoot and learn from them. You know, at least do a basics class. And if it's not your first gun, well, you know, go take it out and actually, you know, make sure it fucking works.
And Barry said he has no buttstock on his 500. Yes, so some of the 500s came with just a pistol grip, and yeah, I mean they're 12 gauges, Mossberg 500s. Really, really good gun. I like them. My brother has one. I think he only paid maybe like, and he's got the one you have, but he had the option to swap out the pistol grip for a buttstock. So he has that he can, you know, do it when he wants. But yeah, just the pistol grip is really nice. And I think he paid like $300 for it. Like,
yeah, Mossberg 500s are great. That was my
Yeah.
first gun because I bought them back in California and I paid like $220 for mine. I bought a 500 Persuader, and yeah, I mean they're dirt cheap. They're very reliable. So
I love the 500s. Like those, you know, they got some kick. They don't do anything fancy. There's no fancy mechanisms, but they always work. Like,
Oh, guys, I found the perfect gun for Charles.
I am scared to ask. Is there? Okay, just so I don't sound horrible. What is it?
What, you recognize what this is?
Oh yes. Oh, I did see that this week.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
There were so many pissed off people about this.
I think
I thought this was awesome.
I love the gun case also. The gun case.
I know.
It.
It made it look like an NES. Freaking awesome.
And by the way, the old system, I guess it did take Duracells or something, or well, batteries.
Yeah, it took batteries.
No, well,
Exactly.
I guess I had the wired one.
It did not take batteries. It got its power.
Wired?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bit strange then, the way they did that, but it still looks cool. What I can't quite tell, is that a Glock? I can't tell.
Let me see.
Probably.
No, it's not a Glock.
No, that's it. That's an MP. I think.
Smith and Wesson.
I'm pretty sure it's an MP.
Yeah, because it's got a safety on it. Glock.
Oh no, it's not. It's not an MP. It's got a hammer. I think that's. Oh, I can't tell actually. Oh, you went away now.
Oh wait, one second. I can.
You did go away. Adrian, come back. Where'd you go?
All right, here we go. By the way,
any chance you can zoom in on it?
Maybe an H&K.
Possible.
Try the zoom. Wait, that's not working right. It's not letting me zoom in on the picture. All right, let me try this.
Control plus.
It does look like a hammer or something's there.
That's definitely a hammer, and it's got a grip. It's got a slide safety. It could be a.
You know what's going to be really. Oh,
it's got that screwy Magwell. I'm sorry, trigger guard magazine release.
Yeah, it looks like.
I think it does say H&K on the bottom of the slide there, or bottom of the frame there.
By the way, why don't people like those paddle releases? Because I understand
they're pain in the ass to use.
Yeah,
ambidextrous is great, but they're hard to use. So
okay, I've only seen them on like the P99, which I was looking at getting at one time.
Yeah, I did transfer a P99 AS for a guy, and of course, you know, when I get it, I make sure it's unloaded, and it was like, oh god damn, I fucking hate getting this damn thing out. Just sitting there and pulling the mag out was a pain in the ass.
Now I'm just trying to find what that gun is. I'm
Pretty sure.
so that it's a H&K.
I'll put the link on the Facebook post so y'all can find it.
So, did any of you find that your friends who don't have guns or like anti-gun are now calling you up asking to borrow guns? Since all this shit's happening.
I've actually had 2 individuals message me about stuff, but
Yeah,
they aren't people within the state.
I hooked up with brother with ammo, and I showed him how to operate it. But unfortunately, my brother, he posts all sorts of memes that might support guns, but he doesn't understand them quite that well. So I showed him on my Python how to operate the Trooper 3 I gave him. They're both Colts, and they both operate the same. The Python's just a lot prettier as far as polish. And I made sure I keep telling him, all right, what kind of ammo does it take? What kind of ammo does it take? What kind of ammo does it take? 357 and 38 special, the 2 it can take. He has a hard time, grasping that. And showing him how, and granted, I think the Smith & Wesson style of opening the cylinder is better than the Colt style of opening the cylinder. It's easier to do one-handed. But, I had to train him up a little bit on that. So hopefully he doesn't accidentally shoot himself. But he lives in a worse neighborhood than I do. So I figured he might need one.
Yeah, he straight up lives in the hood.
Kinda.
In the hood.
In the hood of southern Indiana.
Most of my friends are gun people, so they've already got stuff set up.
Yeah, I have a buddy, Aleda. She went to a gun show with me before the pandemic starts, and now she kind of wishes she'd gotten something. But she also has this fear. Oh, she asked me some silly things like she has like I don't know, some kind of mole problem or something. She's like, "Can you bring the AR-15 out here and shoot them?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going into a city. I'm not going to Louisville in the middle of a suburb close to the middle of the city. Well, not really. Anyway, more urban than I am, and try to shoot that. I'm like, poison the things.
Yeah, calling them control because that's
poison
how you go to
or
jail.
Yeah, like my dad. My dad always has moles. Mom and dad, and every year we always get the mole statistics. So
mole statistics.
Yeah, so we call and we talk to my parents on a weekly basis. Grandkids, everything. So we do video chat and all that because they live a state away, and we always hear about where we're at with mole kills, for the year. And we get the statistic on a weekly basis. And every week it goes up by about 2 or 3. And Dad has used these things for years that, essentially you trigger it whenever a mole like digs a hole, or you actually normally will put it into an existing mole hole or tunnel or over it, stick it down. And whenever they travel through it, and spear goes down, and
give me a link. I'm gonna send that to Aleda. Aleda also has a great idea that AR-15 is some super powerful rifle.
yeah, it's not going to penetrate too far into the ground. But I think my dad's up to 24 moles for this year, which is impressive. Like most years up to this point, they're usually at like 6 or 7, and he's already up in like the low to mid 20s, which is crazy.
Oh, by the way, y'all ever seen something called the Geekey? Geekey. It's one of these multi-tool that looks like a key, but has a little sharp edge you can cut things with, a bottle opener, a screwdriver, and all that. But of all the things it has built into it, it has a pipe built into it. Like you can put a little bit of something, I assume tobacco, in
assume.
Yeah, the Geekey. This thing's fucking. I have to show y'all this later. I'll put a link so y'all can see it. Off topic completely, I know.
Maybe I'll get that for my mom's birthday.
Actually, it doesn't look like the bad little multi-tool. I got mine off Amazon for like $25. It's more than it's worth, I think. But it looked interesting. I always buy little gadgets, man.
I always buy them and then lose them or give them away.
Oh, I lose a lot.
I had these really nice earbuds.
Especially weight.
It's in the chat. And it's really slow site responding. But the thing gets me is it has a pipe on it. So I'm like, So someone's using a multi-tool and probably smoking pot. Not that it looks like it'd be an efficient way to do that. I think you'd waste a lot.
Yeah, you can't do both at the same time.
Geeky. Here we go. Geet.
Main site don't come up. Just look on in Amazon. You'll find it.
You said the geeky multi-tool?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Geekey.
Geekey?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that is you have one of these?
Yeah, I own one of them. I bought.
Have you tried the pipe part?
I haven't tried the pipe part.
I was gonna say, man, that seems like a very, very small run. Yeah. Like I feel like you'd burn the crap out of your lips trying to use that thing.
Also, the way they have it designed, if you're right-handed, it doesn't look very. Because I would normally strike a lighter in my right hand.
Bowl.
I'd have to strike in my left to make this work for me.
Huh.
And my concern is what material is the damn thing made out of, and how is it finished? Because some of that shit you burn, and you're going to be breathing it.
Stuff are you going to be inhaling? Yeah.
Yeah. It's steel, but I don't know if it has any kind of coating on it or not.
Where the hell do you inhale from? I'm looking at this thing.
That's the tip of the key.
Down on the tip, yeah. Like I used to smoke a pipe, like a regular pipe, tobacco,
Frank,
everything.
Frank, you got to put the tip in your mouth, then suck.
That's what Frank has now heard.
That'd be porn no one wants to see. I don't care what your sexuality is. No one wants to see that shit.
Wait, are we talking? We're talking about Frank, right?
Me and Frank.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, even more so.
That is like the weirdest thing to add to it.
If I were gay, you'd be totally my type, Adrian, but I don't swing that way.
But yeah, that is it. That's what I was saying. I was thinking it's so odd that they added a pipe feature to this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that really is weird. Like,
who like to fix things and smoke pot?
Potentially. Like, I feel like the CEO, like, this is like a 10-person company, and the CEO said, yeah, we need to have a pipe. And then they're like, fuck. Okay, we'll figure something out. and this is the result.
It's pretty weird looking, but I like it.
And even after all this BSing, we still have 12 people watching.
Heck
really?
Yeah.
The fuck?
11. I am one of them.
Are like half of them us?
Who knows? And here's the weird thing: if I go to my live studio room, it only shows 3 people there because that doesn't seem to update. But the if I go to actual YouTube, like the view video, it says 12 people watching. Now I'll probably say 13 because I just joined it. And even after all this BSing, we still have 12 people watching. Yeah, that was me. Okay, well, we got some advice out there, I suppose. Does anybody have anything else to say before we close out the stream?
Yes. Riot. Go Riot.
No, I disavow. Fuck that shit.
I'll feed up with that with stay strapped to get clapped, and let's get more rooftop Koreans out there, and that will put a quick end to it.
I saw someone say this. I haven't made the meme yet. Someone said something along the lines of rooftop Koreans is not a race. It's a creed.
Yep.
Oh, I like that.
Doing the Mandalorian thing.
Hey, we're seeing them out here. I mean, over in Dallas, there's people doing that, and that's kind of why we don't see much looting and rioting over in this side of the Metroplex, because there's a lot more gun owners over here. We don't tolerate that shit.
Yeah, I got a Twitter a friend who's talking about becoming a rooftop Korean. And I said he's my favorite American, rooftop American of Korean heritage, because he actually is of Korean heritage, and he's out there in California someplace or another. I think near L.A.
Yeah, you got to wonder if, like, how many protesters, and I won't even say protester, I'll say rioters, would still engage if some warning shots, were buzzed over. Just got to wonder.
Plenty.
What, really? You think if there is an actual threat of violence, threat of being actually shot, that they would still engage.
Yes.
I mean, because guns are past what they are currently doing.
Oh,
You
the
know,
guy I was talking
but-
about, he's
Yeah.
on Twitter. He's at H_bomb1105. That's H_bomb1105. But yeah,
Okay.
he's living out there, and apparently he's into guns, martial arts, boxing, and well, it's a martial art, I suppose. Boxing, Muay Thai, BJJ, Brazilian. I can't say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man.
Just say
You
BJJ.
just did amazingly.
Day
Like,
trader. and
even though, from what I've heard, you saying BJ is much more accommodating.
Just the tip of the multi-tool.
Exactly. But honestly, my opinion is, and I'm not saying this is like a cop thing, right? I'm saying this is people protecting and overlooking what they own and have built. The Koreans on the rooftops, right? If there is actually people firing towards them, the looters, I don't think there would be that many looters. I feel like most of the looters are probably I won't say most. I will say there is a percentage of looters, it seems, are being paid to entice other people and instigate more widespread looting. And I don't think a lot of the looters would continue to loot if they knew that bullets were coming in their general direction.
And
I mean,
Soros paying for that shit.
The potential is there. I mean, we already have multiple stories backing that up. Like, so.
But I mean,
I'm not saying like it's Soros. I'm just saying that somebody potentially is paying them. We already know, like here in Columbus, there's a guy 100% who is enticing people to loot and destroy shit. And he has already said in private conversations that were recorded that they are paying money to people. Now, who those backers are, don't know. But we know that there are people paying money.
It's the Russians.
Sure, it could be. It could be China. It could be Hillary. I mean, but and I don't want to go on the conspiracy theory, but I did hear that Hillary was undergoing testimony this week too. Now, I don't at all want to say that they coincide because there's a shit ton of people that are saying they do. I don't know. Maybe not. And there's been a lot of other things occurring this week that nobody has been talking about at all.
What if you had a gun to shot?
Should I start calling you AJ?
No.
AJ?
Just because I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying I think there all the things that have happened in a 1 week time frame that have been very precisely organized.
I'm just saying you're really sounding like Alex Jones right now.
Well, I'm just saying they had to be orchestrated in one way or another. And I'm saying, all this started for a legitimate purpose, right? That was very sound. People were peacefully protesting for a legitimate reason. And then you have the over the top that's now occurring that feels like it has been organized, that there are people influencing it. Now, if it goes past that, I don't know. I'm just saying how it feels. Because
does this have anything to do with frogs of a different sexual persuasion?
I don't think so.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, but you have something that is very peaceful.
Wrong. Alex Jones was not completely wrong. Look up atrazine and certain frog species.
Oh, on the sexual frogs, yes. Agreed. But yeah, I mean, we had peaceful protests occurring. People weren't doing stupid stuff, and then all of a sudden, it was like night and day. It went from peaceful one night to the next night. All hell broke loose.
And people had recorded stuff at those things where like a bunch of girls in masks start running around and like destroying shit, and it's like all black girls and then these two white girls, and the white girls.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the white girls like spray painting BLM on a window, and like one of the black girls came over and like, "Don't do this. They're gonna blame us for this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and essentially it went from like being almost like not 100% exclusive black people, but the vast majority were black people, you know, peacefully protesting. And then all of a sudden you see all these white people start showing up, and it's like windows start breaking and all hell goes loose, right? And I don't think that is just circumstance. Whether it's Antifa or somebody else, I think somebody is organizing stuff somewhere, and they're getting that, because I'm not part of those groups. I know people, not who are part of the groups, but infiltrate part of the groups, and maybe I should start reaching out and finding out what is going on.
Yeah, the Antifa people I met. I remember this one crazy Antifa lady who's on smart term on Twitter who's talking about, Antifa's running enough protecting black-owned businesses from fascists. No,
bullshit.
Well, and the black guy says bullshit.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about Jack?
I'm not gonna say on air who did the shit on 4th Street, but it's fairly obvious that they were definitely they were definitely members of that organization, and they were definitely from out of town, and they were from the from 2 different states that are close by.
Were they were they possibly soy addicted?
Yes.
Okay, that tells me everything, you know.
Yeah, and too, like, one of the things that was annoying, like, you know, Trump isn't my favorite person ever, but the news media was saying right-wing white supremacist groups. And I'm like,
no, they wouldn't even get within a mile of that.
Yeah, I was like, you know, right-wing white supremacist groups. Like, the main people I can think of are like KKK and Hell's Angels. You know, are like.
Are the Hell's Angels white supremacists though? I know they have.
They have racists, but they're not. But the club on a whole isn't racist. If that makes sense.
Yeah, my they used to have restrictions on like black people couldn't join the Hell's Angels, but I didn't think they were overtly anti. It was just like no, just white people, something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
they could have changed over the last. Many years. I don't know.
But too, that's accurate, right? Black people couldn't in the past. They can now. They're like not really that much of a white supremacist group anymore. Like you still have the KKK, but they've been pretty toned down, and that's why it's like anytime I hear somebody talk about, well, Proud Boys, they're considering Proud Boys as white. Right wing, right?
Proud Boys, though.
Let me give you some background on the Proud Boys on that. It was founded by a dude who's married to a Native American woman and has mixed race kids. They have people like Kyle Chapman, who's married to an Asian woman, I think has at least 1 kid. Its current leader is an Afro-Cuban dude. They have black dudes. They have black gay dudes in the group. Milo Yiannopoulos, who's married to a black man, is currently in the group. And they have black members and so on and so forth. A multiracial group. You want to look at the demographics of it? Yeah, it's probably mostly white guys. I'm told down in Texas, a whole lot of the Proud Boys are Hispanic. They also have people like what is it? The guy that goes by the name Tiny. He's a Samoan in that group. Though Tiny is usually more associated with a group called Patriot Prayer. The Proud Boys are pretty far from white supremacists. They are what they call themselves. They use Western chauvinist. And do you know what chauvinist comes from?
People calling me a pig.
No, right. There was this guy, I think his name was Chauvin. He was like a French dude who was uber patriotic in some ways and very, 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 to a stupid degree, loyal to Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay. And he would constantly defend him. And, you know, he was always on Napoleon's side to a sycophant level. And so the Western chauvinist idea is that these people are obsessed with Western culture. But they have people of all sorts of races in it. Matter of fact, there's a picture of people complaining about a Proud Boys event, and there's a bunch of Asians in the background who apparently part of the Proud Boys. They seem to accept all kinds.
Well, I mean, but that gets me to the point of, you know, okay, so they're saying white supremacist group, but they act like it's right-leaning, right? So who else is there that can do something at scale?
I don't know about anybody at scale.
Exactly. And whenever they try to dismiss and say this is not Antifa, and we have multiple accounts saying this is Antifa,
And then it was,
from people who are part of Antifa.
They say it was right-wing groups posting as Antifa, taking over their accounts.
The only thing I've seen somebody doing, emulating like they are Antifa, was somebody taking pro-Trump bumper stickers, waiting at kind of the outskirts whenever the Antifa guys showed up to start protesting looting, and they took the pro-Trump bumper stickers and slapped over the Bernie bumper stickers on all these Antifa vehicles and everything else. And then everybody else who showed up started bashing in and killing the vehicles of all these Antifa protesters. Like, but
I like that.
Which was effing amazing. It's like the most epic troll ever and social engineering feat. Like, it was amazing. But that's the only thing I've seen that really points to somebody who is definitely like Trump oriented, or at least really pissed off at left wingers. You know, Trump oriented that has happened in this time frame. But it was awesome.
You gotta find me an article on that. I really want to read it.
Yeah, give me a minute. I can find that. Yeah, because I was like, oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Jason and Barry are talking back and forth in the chat. It's cool. I just added Barry. Jason already had it. I added Barry as a moderator. Though so far, all people are pretty nice as far as, you know, not being assholes in the comments.
Nice.
That's good.
So there was this thing recently on Twitter where somebody created an Antifa account and was calling for violence, and then it turned out that person was some right-wing Trump person.
Well, wait. They
at least they're claiming
fake, but I don't know if they've truly proved that though. And here's the problem with a lot of the Antifa accounts on Twitter: there's a lot of fucking parody accounts of Antifa on Twitter.
Because there was, and two, we had like the Antifa something where they disabled the Antifa accounts, or the Antifa account. Wait,
the main Antifa account, or the one that was at least had the most followers, they took it down because the hell was the reasoning they used?
This is going to get me on Antifa, and some people are defending them and so forth. They assaulted a Bernie bro because he decided to show up at like a Patriot Prayer rally. But he was like, well, we're not like these Patriot Prayer guys, but I'm a patriotic American. I'm a Bernie supporter. So he carried an American flag in this fucking protest. The Patriot Prayer people didn't fuck with him, but Antifa started beating on him and tried to take his flag. I think they maybe successfully did because they considered the American flag a fascist symbol. There's also the Marines they maced and then beat up, I think, in New York.
No, they tried to beat up the Marines, and the Marines, you know.
Well, actually, what I heard that after they maced them, they were able to successfully, you know, do some stuff. But maybe I don't grab the whole story. Then there's people that hit overhead with bike locks and generally cause destruction for anybody speaking, and people start calling like someone like Ben Shapiro a Nazi. I'm like, Ben Shapiro is like a dude.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, at this point, that's old school news. They've been calling Shapiro Nazi for the last like 2 years.
But I collected like a whole list of.
They don't like Jordan Peterson too much.
Yeah, and that gets me too. Because Jordan Peterson is pretty damn milk toast, all things considered.
I read his book; it was pretty good.
Only has one
to live by. And by read his book, I mean I listened to the audio book in the background while doing work.
Yeah, I have. I have the audiobook. I haven't finished it though. I do like when he starts talking about lobsters though.
That's the first chapter.
You and your freaking lobsters.
The whole thing with hierarchy. He's obsessed with hierarchies and social.
Oh crap! I wrote a song about it actually. If I see if I can find this.
This should be interesting.
I gotta find this thing. Okay. I'll find it eventually. Here, let me see. Irongeek and lobsters. So can't me that many posts I've ever made about lobsters. But you know that song "Rainbow Connection"? Wait, now where the hell did I have to use the new interface on fucking Twitter? Okay, now here we go.
Yeah, you're like 2 years behind every one of us.
All right, let me see if I can find this. You know the song "The Rainbow Connection" from Muppets? No. Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection. You know that song?
No.
You never heard?
I probably heard it, but
I don't remember.
No, I didn't like the Muppets when I was a kid.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? You never heard that?
It sounds a little familiar, but
you guys sing this in the voice of Jordan Peterson. But have anybody else heard it? No one else has heard the Rainbow song?
Yeah.
You heard it, right?
Oh, good. We got somebody who's heard it.
Okay, Jack's heard it. All right. So here's the song. Why are there so many songs? That tune. Sorry. Why are there so many analogies about lobsters and hierarchies that abide? Lobsters are analogs that only a comparison, and lobsters have nothing to hide unless they've lost a conflict with another lobster. So clean your room. Better believe it, bucko. But observe postmodern and see. Biologists have
followers.
Biologists have found it. The lobster connection, the crustaceans, the humans, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered? Accept responsibility. I can't sing. When wished on societies, somebody thought of that, and the best believed it. The left can go too far. Oh, that what's so amazing that keeps us live streaming. This sucks.
Oh my gosh.
What so we think we might see? Psychiatrists have found it. The lobster connection, the crustaceans, the humans, and me. And man, I just keep going on with this shit. I have this big, like, full song of. Like, I have to play a little bit of the Rainbow Connection, and I'm not. This tune. You're not that much younger than me, Israel.
No, dude, I'm saying I know it. I just don't like it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you didn't know it.
Rainbows are visions.
All right. Anyway, enough of my bad singing. Anyway, somewhere out there, if you look for my name in lobsters, I did a whole song based on Jordan Peterson and lobsters.
The most fascinating thing I remember from that chapter was that if the male lobster loses in the fight to the other lobster, his brain literally eats itself. And he becomes like a subordinate lobster.
That
wicked.
Is not accurate.
It's in the book, man. I don't know if it's accurate.
The book lied.
But it's in the book.
Although, if that were accurate, the Borg would be so happy.
Resistance is futile. I just started rewatching The Next Generation. I love that show. It's aged well, too. Like, most shows from that time period did not age well, but this one is pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like Next Generation is more like Wild Turkey.
Oh, like, DS9 was my favorite.
I never really got into DS9. I wasn't like a fan of Odo. And when they brought Worf over, I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
See, I'm weird. I like Voyager. I'm like the odd man out with that kind of thing.
Voyager?
Really? Yeah, I grew up with that though too. So
yeah, I mean, you're like a tweenies. We just can't be friends anymore.
I looked at the way they ended Voyager. I thought it was
it absolutely had a shitty ending. I mean, it was kind of what they had to do because
that's why Darren keeps watching it, hoping that the end will change.
Oh no.
And the worst Star Trek was Enterprise. Although the hot
Enterprise is okay.
Enterprise got good twisting.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I haven't watched anything since Enterprise though. At least anything newer.
Oh yeah.
Don't do it to yourself.
No, I'm not planning on it.
I've heard bad reviews of Picard, and before that,
really, I didn't hear anything but good good things about Picard.
Yeah, they did Picard dirty.
Why? Or in what way? Because I was planning on watching.
The biodiversity way, and I'll just leave it at that.
You said the diversity way?
Biodiversity way.
Okay.
And what is that other one they have set between Enterprise and Next Generation where they fucked up the looks of the Klingons? I can't remember that name of that one.
I don't know, but in the original, the Klingons look just like humans for most of it, and then they had ridges on their heads towards the end.
Yeah, but I mean the newer one where they totally fuck up the Klingons look. I can't remember.
Didn't the Klingons originally wasn't their nose a little funky?
Different. They don't look like Klingons at all. They just look like some kind of animal.
But originally, wasn't their nose a little funky? Like they didn't look exactly like humans, right?
No, they look. There's one episode where they're all in the cafe with the humans, and Shatner has a tribble in his hand, and he walks by one of the guys who he thinks is a human, and the tribble starts going crazy, and they realize that's a Republican. Yes. I need more alcohol. This is working real.
Wow. Really? You're such an ass. I'm trying to have a serious, stupid Star Trek conversation here. And you notice I paused at Star and then said Trek.
Yeah, the original Klingons in the original series, they put brown makeup on them, they gave them mustaches and goatees and dressed them in gold lame.
Okay, Barry. You don't have to say Discovery 3 times. We get you like Discovery. We got you. Barry likes Discovery.
I haven't watched it, but I just thought they did the Klingons and I lost interest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's me flushing.
So I'm feeling the same for a second. I'll show you. This is the dude. They thought this dude over here was.
Wait, he was a Klingon?
That dude was a Klingon.
He was a Klingon that was cosmetically modified to look like a normal human.
Wait, whoa.
They're Klingons.
What? Whoa. No. I need to make sure, Adrian, is that accurate? Or
what?
Was he supposed to have been modified to look like a human?
The dude who was up there just a second ago isn't, but one of the other guys here is. I think the guy labeled Aim.
Oh, actually, now that you're showing some of these, I remember some of these guys, and they were supposed to be Klingons. Okay.
So they did bring back some of the actors for DS9 who played some of the original Klingon captains, and they did put them in the new Klingon makeup. Well, the new as in
episode
Klingon makeup.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you guys are talking about now. Okay.
The DS9 Tribble episode, where they went back in time onto the Trouble of Tribbles episode.
Yeah. Well, besides that, though, apparently Dax was friends, former Curzon form with some of those captains, and so they brought my understanding the same actors back to reprise the roles as the captains. So apparently Klingons have a lifespan of over 120 years or something. Because wasn't that 70 years after the original series that Next Generation takes place?
Oh, so they're as old as me. That's pretty cool.
Now, when it comes to the two Daxes, there was Esri and Jadzia.
But before them, it was Curzon.
Nicole DeBoer. I had a crush on her.
She's cute.
But I thought she was pretty, honestly.
But by two Daxes, I mean apparently these Klingons knew Curzon Dax, which is the Dax that preceded Jadzia.
Okay. I know that. I was just talking about Dax.
Okay. Well, you don't have the hots for Curzon also?
He was
old man.
So.
Oh, Barry knows. Apparently, Captain Korleff is one of them. One of the Klingons.
Yes.
I remember I used to watch the original series after church. A lot of times, my uncle, my grandma, and me would all go to Mr. Gaddy's and
Oh, Cola. Oh, Mr. Wait, yeah. We gotta move off of Cola to Mr. Gaddy's. I loved Mr. Gaddy's when I was a kid.
On the big screen. This is the 80s, by the way. So big screen means they had this big ass projector with 3 colors.
Yes.
On the wall, and that was pretty high tech at the time. And they'd usually have the original series on, so I got to catch a lot of episodes. I need to check out the cartoon again. You ever watch the original series cartoon?
No.
That was so bad.
I do want to mention, last time I was in Indiana, I got to introduce my wife to Mr. Gaddy's. And so we all went to Mr. Gaddy's for the first time. And that was my first time since I was probably like 16.
Is it only in Indiana?
Yeah, I think so.
Mr. Gaddy's is also here in Louisville. And
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I've never seen Mr. Gaddy's outside of Martinsville. So I've heard it. They have a few other locations, but I never knew where.
Oh, yeah, there's a few ones. There's one in Clarksville still. The Jefferson one is closed. And I see at least 2 locations in Louisville.
Nice.
By the way,
yeah,
because of the recent shootings and so forth, I hear people on YouTube who I normally follow say Louisville, but they say Louisville. They constantly say Louisville. I know they shouldn't know any better, especially since Sargon of Akkadi's British, so he wouldn't know any better. But Louisville. You got to swallow Louisville.
Yeah, those guys are out of towners. Louisville.
And I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember if Tim Pool pronounces it correctly or not. I don't remember. I think he may.
He might
may.
But Sargon turns it up as Louisville or something.
Yeah, I mean, like you would think. Find a YouTube video of somebody in whatever city you're talking about. Listen to them for 5 minutes. Figure out how in the hell they pronounce a city, and then pronounce it the same.
You mean Louisville?
Louisville.
I don't know, because I was once in this city. I was once in the city in Oklahoma, and I pronounced it one way, and everybody jumped on me. It's the same in another city in Pennsylvania called Reading, even though it looks like reading.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, you go from different state to state. Oh yeah, they're gonna have some different pronunciations.
Yeah, and the name of that city was Miami.
Miami.
I was like, come on, stop churching up. It's Miami.
We got a bunch of towns on Long Island that are spelled really weird because they're Indian names, and everybody says them wrong. We got Massapequa, Wantagh. We got I can't remember any of the other ones right now, but there are some that have really long names, and you can't pronounce them right just by reading them unless you've heard them before.
Nice. Well, gentlemen,
it's been great, but we need to go.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for joining Irongeek Cast, and we'll hopefully see you all next week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Later.
Say goodbye, everybody. I'm joking. Have a good night.